careful, sure ego playing this game. You be missing on a weekend, baby, it's a shame. Cause I know how you be cheating. I be out when I'm back, screaming I'm fussing, kicking you out, then we be touching. Don't wanna fight, but I know you be fucking. And you expect me to never say nothing. I waited, but you hesitated. The way that you got me so open, I'm telling you, baby, I hate it. Leaving you, wanted to, but never do. And love is cruel, I'm such a fool. Now what to do? Using my body whenever you need it, like I'll be a tool. Baby, not tonight. No, I don't wanna fuss or fight. I'm just trying to fuck tonight. Oh, baby, not tonight. I'm not trying to play you around. I'm just trying to lay you down tonight. We got issues, wish you would do what you used to like before. Beneficial tissue, good, don't forget.
Okay.
Yes, I love that. I love that, Aisha.
It's dope. Okay.
Nice little mix on that.
Congratulations, that's hot.
Congratulations. Nice mix on that.
Okay.
Welcome to the Beat 139. I'm Doc.
Don Vito was good.
What's going on, everybody? It feels good to be back. It's your girl Kelly back in the building.
Absolutely.
Let's go. Let's have a good time tonight. We got Aisha Hall here. Hey.
So we want to welcome. Please welcome the hip hop queen from Strong Island, New York. Best-selling author, rapper, advocate, Aisha Hall.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome, Aisha.
Thank you.
So we always start our show off with getting some people background on on them and set the stage for the viewers and the listeners about where you came from and how you got here, and maybe others can relate and learn something from where you came from and your success of today.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like mad excited to be here. I heard good stuff about y'all.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
I like that.
Yeah, right?
Appreciate that. Yeah.
What a way to start the show.
Always a good thing, absolutely.
All right, so just tell everybody where you're from. Let's start like that.
So, as you said, I'm from Strong Island, New York, Long Island, exit 21. Stand up, we in the building.
Exit 21, okay. So y'all do it like that, huh? Exit 21 and stuff like that, huh?
Yeah, exit 21. I got big shoes to fill. Let's see who's from exit 21. Eddie Murphy, Charlie Murphy. They're from exit 21. Dr. J. Who else? The whole Flavor Flav and. Chuck D, the whole Public Enemy.
Okay, Long Island, right?
It's Roosevelt, Long Island, yep.
Exit 21.
Exit 21.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
So that's where I was born and raised.
All right,
so how was it like growing up in Long Island?
I mean, Roosevelt was lit. You know what I'm saying? At the time that I was growing up there, it was like 98% black.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit of I want to say like black middle class, but a little bit below that. People lived in houses rather than buildings. That really was a difference. But Roosevelt was definitely Roosevelt, Hempstead, Freeport. It's all kind of similar. It was a lot of drugs being sold at that time. We used to have the Greek Fest there. I don't know if y'all remember.
Yeah, I remember the Greek Fest
on Nassau Road.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Nassau. Yeah.
So that whole strip right there, that's my
crazy.
home.
Yeah.
It used to be crazy. So Roosevelt is Roosevelt. It's the blend between really hood and then a little bit sophisticated, and you have two sides that kind of come together.
A lot of people growing up, I'm from Harlem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like most people from Harlem, Bronx, Long Island. We think of Long Island more like houses, like suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize till later in the years that it's just pretty much the same as what we go through in other boroughs, the other 4 boroughs.
Oh, the same.
5 boroughs.
The same. You have nice areas in Brooklyn, and you have your hood. Same with Harlem. It's the same thing. Long Island. I mean, where I'm from in Roosevelt, the majority of people there, they didn't own homes. A lot of them they rented. Section 8. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Anywhere you have a cluster of black people. It's the same circumstances, pretty much you see throughout the entire country.
But I know you know about that stereotype. Cause I even
absolutely.
hear like a lot of rappers be like, y'all feel to realize we get it in out here in Long Island. Y'all think of Long Island as such and such.
Yeah, because it's we don't live on top of each other.
Yeah.
It's more spread out. Where in the boroughs you have buildings and it's a little bit different. But it's the same thing. Like my father used to run Long Island back in the day. But he unfortunately was killed. My brother, he was killed on Long Island, right there in Roosevelt. It's violence everywhere. It's the same struggle everywhere. It's just that you do see houses, so you do get to see like grass and, you know, sometimes the visual is a little bit better, but internally, you know, the struggles are all the same.
Hey, absolutely. I was getting ready to touch on your father, your dad. You know, he's well known in Long Island. We did some research, and what's his name? Colin Rochester? Colin Rochester, a.k.a. Daddy Prince.
Daddy Prince Colin, yes.
So let's talk a little bit about your relationship with your pops, you know, at that time.
My pops, you know, was like the illest G I ever encountered. Not just saying because he's my father, but that just was, you know, just from people speaking. Like, even as an adult, everybody I meet, yo, back in the day, your pops put me on. You know, I have those shoes to fill where it's like my father put so many people on, got so many people started, whether it was giving them some money or, you know, giving them some work, whatever it was he was doing, you know, no matter how people look at it, it was still in his mind trying to help. So that's where I got my giving heart from, and the way I give back, I get that from him. You know, he was definitely the most intellectual person I ever met, and he also was, you know, probably the most ruthless person I ever met. You know, he did not, and not just on no ignorant stuff, like on some respect. You know, he carried himself a certain way, and if he was going to be in his presence, you had to move a certain way, or you was going to be dealt with. Like, I remember one time, somebody kicked in the door at one of his little stash spots, and he did his own forensics. Lined up some of the goons, had them, you know, tied up, took their shoes off, and was matching the shoe print to who kicked in the door. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the type of dude he was. You know? So, but he could also quote you any of the greatest books, you know, and he just was a philosopher. I was raised, you know, in the Hebrew Israelite temples. My father also took us to, he was into the Moorish science. He was into everything you could possibly think of. He just was well-rounded, and it had a big impression on me.
Your father was from the islands, right?
Yeah, my father was from Jamaica.
Jamaica, yeah.
Most people named Colin always be mostly West Indian.
Yeah. Colin Constantine, Rochester. That's not an island name. I don't know.
Rochester.
So, Aisha, how's the schools out there? Did you attend school there, or did you go to like another borough?
No, I went to school in Roosevelt. So I went to Ulysses Bias Elementary School. My grandmother was actually a teacher there.
Oh,
so
really? That should have been nice.
Yeah, it was cool. I got a little special treatment, you know. And I went to Roosevelt Junior Senior High School. I went to junior high school there for a little while, and then I transferred to Freeport. So when I was about 12 years old, I started running track at Roosevelt. And I actually joined the varsity team, went to the state championships at 12 years old. I was the youngest person, like, ever. So just to give you a little background about my competitiveness, I always go hard. I've been going hard since I was a kid, you know. So,
but the DNA through your father, the work and aggressiveness, you know, the entrepreneur getting that money.
Yes.
And that DNA is something.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
my father was an artist. So my father worked a lot with Public Enemy. He did a lot of songs with Terminator X and Chuck D, and did a lot of shows. That's how I got my start into music.
Right.
So I would go with my dad to these shows, and I would perform. I'm like 7, 8 years old, and he's like, come get on the mic. And I would get on the mic and just start freestyling, saying anything, but I could go with the beat.
Right.
You know, and people used to be so intrigued. So that allowed me to, like, you know, I wasn't scared. You know? And my father was very popular.
Right.
So, you know, he told the crowd, listen, I know y'all want to smoke, do all of that. Wait 5 minutes. My daughter coming to the stage.
Right.
And I would get up there and do my thing. So
You the only child?
No. It's my parents have 5 children together. And then my father has other children.
Who's the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Okay.
Yeah, they was 16 when they had me, so I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
How many sisters and brother?
So I have 3 sisters. And 2 brothers. One of my brothers passed away.
Okay, sorry to hear.
So you have a daughter?
I don't have any kids.
You have a daughter?
No kids.
All right.
So your dad, who passed away first, your dad or your brother?
My brother passed away first.
So I know that had to be hard on your dad.
Oh, yeah. My father had gotten deported.
Oh, okay.
So my father got locked up on a gun charge years ago. And then it came back later on, and they said they were deporting him, even though he had already served his time, et cetera. So they deported him to Jamaica. But he came here when he was 5. So it was a big controversy with him being deported.
That definitely should have been a controversy, because if his kids and his wife and everybody is in Roosevelt by law, they supposed to really let him stay because the majority of his main family is there. You know, usually they deport, because I had a family member who was deported as well. You know, but that's in this time with Trump being the president. But you know, back then they were supposed to automatically let him stay here because his wife and everything is here.
No, it don't have nothing to do with. That's not the law. The law is you supposed to get your card. They can do that when you don't get your citizenship. They can do what they want.
Well, we
Oh,
This don't
yeah,
have nothing to
definitely.
do
But
with
he had
Trump.
the
This
citizenship,
don't have nothing to
though,
do with
right?
Trump.
No, I know
it
it doesn't have
Trump.
nothing to do with Trump. You didn't hear what I just said. What I said was it's a difference between then and now. I said now, you know, Trump is just pushing everybody off to where they was born and raised, even if they have citizenship or not. You know, I said back then they was a little bit more lenient as far as when it comes to the paperwork, and when people had the family and stuff, they would work with them and still let them stay.
No, but they more was working with people who wasn't committing crimes. If you commit crimes, they was sending people back.
Well, here's the deal.
Right.
We challenged his deportation because the rule was, my father was only 5 when he came here, so it was impossible for him to file any paperwork.
Right.
But if your
Exactly,
parent
he's
was
a
a
baby.
citizen prior to you turning 18, it's supposed to transfer to you.
Right.
And that's what was supposed to have happened. But there's a lot that went into my father's story. My father was very controversial. He challenged the government. They called him a paper terrorist. You know, he filed everything you could possibly
So
file.
they found him as a threat.
Yeah, they
pretty
found him
much,
as a
right?
threat. He spoke, you know, about things about, you know, people talking about Illuminati, different
Right.
things of that nature. He'd been talking about these things way before social media or the internet, and they just had an issue with him.
So did they deport him coming from prison, or he was already home?
He was actually, they locked him up for a traffic violation.
Right.
He had already served his time for the gun charge years ago. He got locked up on a traffic violation, and when he was supposed to be released, immigration came and picked him up.
Right.
And they took him to INS, actually out here in Jersey.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was the last time he was in the United States. He got deported from there under a different name. We lost him in the system. It was scandalous, you know, and it's even
What
some
was you
scandal.
at the time?
At the time, I was 17.
Oh, so you was pretty grown.
Yeah, I was grown. Well, pretty grown, not grown. But, you know, it was pretty scandalous because when my brother got killed, you know, before my brother got killed by Nassau County Police.
Oh wow! How did that happen?
They ran him over. He was at a stoplight on a bike stop, and they ran into him. But prior to that, you know, he'd been pulled over and stopped before. Like, where's your father at? You know, like just little stuff. You
Trying
know,
to target him pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. So I even think it may have impacted me to some degree because
Right.
he was just nothing to play with. You know, he wasn't scared of them. You know, like he challenged a police officer the same way he would a dude on the street.
Right.
So, you know.
They said the Long Island police is something else.
Yeah, especially
They-
Nassau County.
Yeah,
Suffolk
Nassau County a joke. Yeah.
Everybody's. I know somebody locked up this and said, "You had to get me out of here."
Yeah,
I know
Nassau
several
a
people
joke.
killed by them. I have another friend, Ephraim Plummer. He was killed by Nassau County. Like, they just be killing niggas. Like, they do it and they get away with
Yeah,
it.
they rough out
Yeah,
there.
it's definitely. You know.
So, your father got deported. You know, you was you started finding your way far as like a little bit of entertainment, like with your hustle and all that. You ran track and all that. So, what was life like coming after that? After all that started happening, what did you start doing then?
So I got a full ride to college, to New York Tech, you know, as a running track. But the thing about the NCAA is that you can't work. So that's your work. If they're paying for your school tuition, that's your work. They don't want you to focus on anything else. But
Right.
I had already had that taste where I was, you know, curious about money.
Right.
So I started working on the low, like off the books. And I remember I started working as a telemarketer for a mortgage company. And I saw these guys coming in with these, you know, brand new Range Rovers and Maseratis, and they weren't much older than me. And I'm like, what are they doing? I'm on the phone calling people, asking them, hey, you want to refinance your house? And they would give me $50 for every person that said yes, and I would pass them to these loan officers, and that's who was making the big money. So I wanted to know, you know, how do I do that? So I took a job very early on, and it was on commission. And I think my first check might have been like $3,000 or $4,000, and I was like, people wait all month to get this, and I got this, you know, off of one deal in a couple of days. So I was going back to school like, wah, 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 you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm doing this, I'm majoring in this, I'm going to graduate and be in debt if I want to go to grad school. and be hoping to make 50 grand. I could do that maybe a month if I go over here into this field. So I lost interest in school. I dropped out. And I went full-fledged working, in the mortgage field. That's how I started. That was my entry drug into the money world.
Right.
So when your father was here, you used to getting everything. And so when he left, it was like a little void.
Well, you know what? To be honest, my father made a lot of money, but he never really gave us a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? He was he thought about everything he did. He never wanted us to feel like handouts. Right. You know what I'm saying? He always taught us hustle. Right. Go do this for me. I give you $10.
Prepared you
Go
for
do
the
this
real
for
world.
me. I had to do something to get something. I wasn't given anything. You know what I'm saying? And as I used to get mad sometimes because I'd be like, Daddy, can I have a couple dollars? I talked about that in an interview on the show. And he would always give me $5 or $10, and he's going through all these thousands of dollars. And I'm like, yo, what's up? But this is my money. You got to earn yours. You know? And I'm glad that he took the time to do that.
He's pretty much preparing you for the real world.
Absolutely.
Because in the real world, they're not handing you nothing. You got to go ahead and get it. And you're female, so he's letting you know.
Absolutely.
You got to get your weight up. All right, so now you done said forget about the college thing and all that. You want to get some real money. You saw the Range Rovers, you saw the Jags and all that. So now where was your mind at after that?
I got to get a bag. I got to figure out the fastest way to get a bag because I'm sitting here going to school. It was cool. I had a little boyfriend, and it was like, I want to get my own place now. I don't want to live on campus. I want to get a place. So now you get the place. Now I got to pay for the place. But I didn't want to pay for the place and struggle to pay for the place. So I'm like, how do I bring in more money? You know what I'm saying? And that's when I started. I said, you know what? Everything I was learning at this mortgage company was life-changing because it wasn't the mortgage company that changed me. It was the applications from the people trying to buy houses when they list their employment. Right. So now I'm seeing jobs I never heard of. You know what I'm saying? Titles that we don't learn about in school. I'm seeing all of these people, different executive positions, people reading their tax returns. This person making $650,000 a year. What the hell they do? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, how do I do this? So that opened my mind to really wanting to understand the other options out there to make money. Right. And I said, screw this. I left that job. You know what I did? I took a couple of pamphlets from the mortgage company, and I made some flyers, and I said, learn the secrets about mortgages, turn my little apartment into a little school, and I started a mortgage training course. No formal training, just took the information that I learned and watched, and I did my little mortgage school, and I had people come, and I basically taught them about the secret points that the bankers charge in the back that you don't know about. Just giving them something for their money. In exchange for money, I'm giving you information that you wouldn't have access to. Right.
How many people you had on board at this particular time?
It was just me.
No, I'm saying that.
That were coming?
Yeah.
Oh, the first one I had was very successful. I had about 20 people come, and I charged them like $200. So that was like, I'm controlling the money I'm making, from my own thoughts and words.
Tax-free?
Tax-free, yeah, it was cash.
But when people spend money like that, they serious.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because I'm like, I have all this information. What am I going to do with it? I know it's valuable. And I was very young. I was probably about 19, maybe. So I remember calling my grandfather. My grandfather's my rock. He was present in this program. But my grandfather, I gave him a couple of questions. I said, Poppy, ask me these questions. Don't say you're my grandfather. It'll make me look real smart. So and then he's like, excuse me. He's asking me, what does ARM stand for? I'm like, hold on, sir. I'll get to you. So he was holding me down, and people were like, oh, wow.
Fake it till you make it. Huh?
Yeah, fake it till you make it. And then I did it again, and then I have 30 people. Then I do it again, and I'm like, hold on. Why am I doing this in my apartment? And I'm working at a mortgage company. Why don't I buy a house? Right. So I'm 19, and I'm like, I'm going to buy a house. So by the time I was 20, I had closed and moved into my house. And I bought my first house, and it was all from me paying attention to what the people around me were doing, and not wanting to settle for less. Right. So, that's when I got my house. Then I got my house. My boyfriend at the time said, let's get married. I said, well, we got to get some money. Right. So I took some equity out of the house. So now this was my first time I had $50,000, access to from there was equity in my house. Right. So I pulled that money out, and then I got married. Then I sold the house, you know, at that time it was who was in office? Crazy man, George Bush. So the housing market was going crazy. I knew it was going to crash. So I said, let's sell the house. Sold the house. Walked away with another 50 after I paid everything off. So now I'm playing with money at a very young age. And once you start that, it's like it has to continue. That's just a little backstory. You know?
And what first directed your attention to doing mortgage? Like, it's so many other fields to go into. What made you just say, you know what, I'm going to do the mortgage?
You know what? I saw an ad. I was looking for a job when I was in college because I, you know, something I could do on the side that I wouldn't get a paycheck because I didn't want to lose my scholarship.
Right.
So when I saw that I could do something on commission and it said make money every day, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what mortgages were. I went to the place and they said all you have to do is call people, ask them if they want to refinance, and for every person that says yes and they start filling out the application, we'll give you $50 cash. Right. You know, as a kid, that was a lot of money. Yeah. You know, so I'm walking away with $150, $200 a day.
Right, especially when you got no responsibilities, just free.
Exactly. But that's when I saw the people who I was giving the information to making the big money. And I got curious. That's how it happened.
Okay.
We had some fun. I did the same thing, too.
You did?
Yeah, you know, I did the same thing. I worked for a company called Palmer Mortgage Bankers in Ramsey, New Jersey. And it's the same thing. They had like a screen, and they give you like a little script. You had to read the little script, you know. So you call people, ask them, do they want to refinance their mortgage, and stuff like that. And it was the same thing. I started like that, but one day I got on. I'm gonna get back to you. A lady said, if I want to refinance my mortgage, don't you think I would have called you? I'm like, I said, okay, lady, but you trained, you can't talk back. You got to take that.
Of course.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it's like telemarketing.
Right, but she was smarter than me. She ran with it. I just went and did something else, you know. But
you know, I learned in life that if it's easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's easy to collect a check. You know, you're going. It's a stability there. But you're stuck. You know, I know I'm gonna make 40 or 50 or 60,000. If me and you get the same salary and I outwork you, I get nothing for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I learned as an entrepreneur, you get what you put in. So the harder you go, the more you get out of it.
right. So you had that $100,000. So you said, you know, once you start tasting that money, so what was your next move?
So I bought another house in Atlanta. You know, I had got married at the time, very young. You know, I was a grown lady from 16.
Right.
You know, so I moved to Atlanta, and when I got to Atlanta, I was supposed to get a job at a mortgage company there. I was transferring, and when I got there, I thought I had the job. The lady, when I walked in, she was like, "Oh no." She told me no. She shut me down for whatever reason. And I'm like, I'm transferring. What do you mean? No, it's not for you to say yes or no. I'm transferring.
Right.
I just did a whole move, like.
She said no. So I said, okay. So I went home and I told my husband at the time, I don't have that job. So he flipped. He was one of those 9 to 5. I got to have, you know, a certain amount coming in regularly. I can't live any other way type of guy. And I was like, well, maybe this is a sign that I should just go 100% independent. He's like, I don't want to hear that. You better find another job. I'm like, whatever. So I said, what skill did I learn that I could use to make money from these mortgage companies? And I was like, a lot of people whose mortgages I was working on, I couldn't close because their credit wasn't good enough. And I used to give them little tricks to maybe boost it. And I said, why don't I just do that? Why don't I just get paid for fixing credit? I was one of the people on the end that was approving. So I know exactly what the credit needs to look like. So I went on, at that time, Craigslist, started making ads, you know, to get people to see if they want to fix their credit or boost their credit. And I got a crazy response. So I started charging people like $1,500 to wipe it clean and build it back up. And I would wake up and I got, you know, $5,000, $6,000 on in my bank account, you know, from people going on my website. And I was like, I found it, I'm good. And it just kind of went from there.
So how that experience was? With your husband, how he felt about that? Once he saw that you made a move like that, did he believe in you 100%, or he still wants you to get a job?
He still wanted me to get a job, but this is where my marriage ended. I was married to a great guy. He was like captain of football in high school, captain of basketball. So I saw that, you know, but I wasn't a woman yet, and I didn't know what I wanted out of a man yet, really. I didn't know what I wanted out of myself. And when I found it, it was like, I'm this boss chick, and I need a boss man, you know? Yeah. And he was more of a worker, He was more of, I'm comfortable with a salary. And the difference is he's back home by 5:30. I'm in the office till 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So we were having issues with the schedule. He's like, I'm home, I want to eat some dinner, and I'm like, I'm on the phone with my clients in California, and it might be midnight here, but it's only 9 o'clock there, so I got work to do. And he wasn't really feeling that. And then I wasn't feeling certain things, so, we just kind of outgrew each other. You know what I'm saying? But that's how that happened, because when you're an entrepreneur, it's a different type of work ethic. Yeah. It's a different type of hustle. And it can get discouraging because you don't always make money. And you need people around you that are going to encourage you and push you so that you don't quit. Right. And I wasn't really getting that from him. So it was time for me to
So you was on the paper chase pretty much. And he was busy trying to live an ordinary life. And you wasn't an ordinary female. So it clashed.
Right. And you know what? Actually, I forced him. And this is where I'll never do that again, but I forced him to quit his job. I said, fuck that. You coming with me to this office, and we're going to be partners, and we're going to build this little empire. I don't care what you're talking about. And I forced him, but it wasn't really him, so he wasn't really happy. Right. You know what I'm saying?
So when you forced him, he was aggravated.
He was aggravated. I know what I'm doing.
He did it on the strength of you.
He did it on the strength of me, but it wasn't really working because that's not really what he wanted to do.
So let me ask you this. At this time, when you forced him to quit the job, what was your numbers like at this particular time?
I was probably doing, on average, honestly, probably about $7,000 to $10,000 a month in credit repair. Right. And I said, I can double those numbers if you work with me.
Yeah,
right.
But instead, I ended up having to go and get someone to come and work with me. And I had to pay them.
Even with him being there?
No, because he stopped coming.
Oh, he
stopped coming. So I'm like, now I have to pay someone to do what you could have been doing. I wouldn't have had to pay you. We would have been partners. But now it's going to take away from my bottom line. Right. So it just made me feel like...
So what you think really bothered him about it? The hours, or more like the work, or you telling him specifically what to do?
Me telling him what to do was an issue. And also the lack of, stability in the beginning of starting something new. He wasn't comfortable. He wanted that security of a job.
Automatically.
And I knew that, if I don't make any money, we done. We don't have a paycheck to rely on. He wasn't comfortable with that.
Right.
So
y'all had divorce.
I asked him for the divorce. Right. You know what I'm saying? I was just like...
So how did the divorce go?
I actually didn't get divorced until I got into prison, but we had already separated. Right. I basically came home one day and I was like, I'm going to take a little trip, and I'll see you when I get back. And then my trip just lasted a little long.
Right. So after the credit repair business and stuff like that, so it went well. That was a
shout out to Terrell. Terrell, no share.
A long little trip.
Terrell, long trip. We were young,
So after the credit repair business was going very well, and then you and your man, things started to get a little shaky. And you made another move
to Detroit.
Right.
So before I went to Detroit, I had met someone, a business partner. A guy called me and was like, I see you doing credit. I want to do some credit stuff or whatever. And I said, okay, let's do it. And we ended up talking for 5 hours that day. He told me he owned a restaurant and he wanted credit to put his restaurant on the other side of the street because he was in Detroit. And, the money is shady in Detroit. So the street got broken up to be repaired and never did. So people couldn't drive down that street. So he wanted to move across the street, but he didn't want to use his cash. He wanted to do credit. So he gave me some ideas about credit, and we ended up collaborating. And before you know it, we was making $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 a month, doing credit stuff. Right. He ended up being on paper. He got violated and went to prison. So I moved to Detroit. I left my husband and moved to Detroit, and he was gone, and I was there. He introduced me to some guys. They was in the street. They was hustlers, and I said, I have this idea. I have a client who, called me in the mortgage business, but wanted to borrow $4 million. And I said, I don't have anybody to give you $4 million. What you want so much money for? And that's when he told me about trading, and I got curious. So I had an idea, and I said, so what are you going to do with this money? He said, well, really, I need to just show I have the money. I don't really need it. But if I did it on a loan, I could have it in the bank and show it. I don't have to spend it.
Right.
So I got curious, and I said, so really all you need is the look to do these trades? Let me find out more about these trading platforms and what are these commodities? And I did my own research. And when I moved to Detroit, you know, I started to put a team together. I said, I have an idea. I know that people are in this trading business who don't actually have cash. They just need to look like they have cash. And I can make that happen for them if y'all get down with me. And the story went from there.
So the guy you moved to Detroit with, y'all were just business partners, or you was in a relationship with him?
We were business partners, and then it evolved into other things. You know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how long that lasted before he went to prison?
Not very long. Most of our business was on the phone, but by the time I moved there, he was already gone. So he had already gotten violated. I didn't know he was going to be there that long. You know, I thought he was going to go in and go to court and come out. I didn't really understand the system, but he didn't come out.
So why didn't you come back home? Why did you stay?
Because I had already made up my mind that I wanted to, you know, go somewhere where I could just do the things I wanted to do financially and not have to worry about somebody questioning my risk. I wanted to take risks, and I didn't want to hurt anybody else in my risks.
Right.
So I wanted to be able to, if I made 10 grand and I wanted to spend 9,500, I didn't want to have to answer to anybody. I wanted to take those risks on my own.
So you left for land and you sold your house, or you just?
No, actually, I didn't sell my house. My husband at the time stayed at the house, and I left. And I said, okay, so, you know, I'll pay for the house and all of that, because now I start making money. So about after 2 months into that business, actually, I'm going to tell you what happened. So Chris, the guy that I had moved there that I knew, he was locked up. We was on the phone, and I said, guess how much money I got right now doing what I was doing. He said, I know you probably got like 200 or 300 by now. And I was like, hold on. And I said, I'm about to call from my other phone. And I called the bank, and it said, enter your account number. I'll never forget it. Enter my account number, and it said, your available balance is $1 million. He said, what? He's like, yo, you gonna get me written up? He's screaming. He said, I can't believe it. I said, me either. You know what I'm saying? And then every month it was just more, you know?
So how I felt you come from Long Island
Uh-huh.
to Atlanta to Detroit at a young age, and you hear the words $1 million. It's not like you hit a Powerball or anything like that. That's your hard work.
Yeah.
And
You cried?
Nah. Let me tell you, I was poisoned. Let me tell you why. The documentation that I was giving these people that they were paying me for stated that they were worth 50 million, 100 million. So every day I'm seeing these numbers. So when I made my million, I felt like I ain't have shit.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm seeing, you know, 9 digits,
But it's
8
stuff you
all
already
day.
used
But
to
they not
seeing
really
every
worth
day.
that, though, right?
They're not, but it's still a visual.
In the
You know what I'm
mind.
saying?
Yeah.
And even though they weren't worth that, when they got into the trades, they could make 30, 40, or $50 million. So we were constantly talking about these crazy numbers. So they were already, my brain had already started absorbing those type of numbers. So by the time I made my first million, it was like, I'm trying to make 100 million. I was trying to make the numbers that I was seeing every day.
Right.
You know?
So as a young woman, and you see $1 million, you didn't just go out and splurge.
Hell no. I did not. First of all, I didn't splurge because I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, I'm not touching this in case they ask for it back. I didn't want to be responsible for that kind of money. And believe it or not, that's how I popped. I had a client, I actually charged them $1 million to show $1 billion on paper. Now, this is BS. They don't actually need this money. You know what I'm saying? But I'm showing $1 billion on paper. Charge you $1 million. And I had this investor who said, yeah, I can actually put them on my real account. So I got excited. They never did it. So I had this money that was sent to me, and I was supposed to give the guy that was supposed to put them on the billion half of that, 500,000. He never did it. So I'm like, damn. So my client is like, you know, do you have the paperwork for me? This is before I did anything shady.
Right.
I'm like, I don't have it. He's like, but you got my money, so give me your lawyer's information, and I'll give you my lawyer's information, and we can start this lawsuit process so I can get my money back. I said, wait, lawsuit? No, I'm gonna give you your money. He said, you gonna do what? So I'm gonna give you your money. So I found out in that industry, once you pay, it's done.
Right.
It's very difficult to get your money back. So when I gave him his money back, it was like my phone went crazy because now there's somebody trustworthy in the business.
Right.
And everybody started coming to me because now it's like all the people who wanted to get in that business that could not afford it or could not show it now had somebody who not only could provide that for them, but if it didn't work,
You pay 'em back.
would pay
You
them
still
back.
But why did he feel that he wasn't going to get the money back from the beginning?
Because I guess he tried this other times and he'd taken losses.
Right.
He already had the process down. All right, we're gonna start like that was just what he was used to
Right.
doing. And I was like, wait, hold up. I don't want none of them problems.
And this
I'm
is
gonna give you
still
money.
Right.
with you having the investor, correct?
Right.
Right.
But the investor just kept not working out right.
Right.
So I kept having clients send money. We have issues. I send money back. And then finally a client was like, yo, like, I don't want to wait for this process. Just, you got the actual documentation. Just let me use it. Let me put my name and my information on that account. And I was like, you know what? You're right. He said, I'm going to send you, I don't remember, 150 or 200 grand. And he sent it. And I sent the paperwork. And that was it. You know, that's how that went.
So you was playing with a lot of money.
Lot of money.
So where was your headspace at that time? So now you playing with all this money. So was you thinking about buying some more houses, flossing, or I mean, you got to be thinking that. Then what's my next move?
You know, and I know this sounds crazy, but you know, I'm a big team player. And I don't like being the only one with a big bag. So my main focus was making sure that my team ate. So I was constantly doing different things to put them in position to eat. I bought 75 houses. I bought warehouses. I was buying tractor trailers. I was doing so many different things to diversify. I bought a club, you know, and I was putting everybody in position. You run that over there. You do this, you know,
Right.
legacy houses, legacy commodities, legacy investors. I was just diversifying, you know, and I wasn't really thinking about splurging. I was thinking about
More the
getting to that
business
100
outlet,
million I
right.
kept thinking about.
Right.
You know, I'm in the office till 2 and 3 in the morning every day. I didn't have time.
Right.
You know, but I also like to be, you know, taken care of. So
Right.
I would have people drive me, you know, shopper, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Little
driver.
stuff. Yeah, sometimes, not all the time. But, you know, I would travel. You know, I would call like luxury Bentley, have them pick me up from the airport. Subtle boss stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm
Certain
saying?
things you would treat yourself
certain
to,
things
right.
I treated myself to, but I also treated my team to it.
So how was your husband? He knew you was getting money like this?
No, so this is the movie stuff. I'm giving y'all the exclusive.
Look
right
at
now.
this.
So actually, he did not know. Actually, and he probably remembers this. It was terrible. I was pushing for this divorce, and because I liked Chris,
Right.
but I was married.
Right.
But Chris
You know?
in jail.
And Chris is
Chris
the
is in
one
jail.
in Detroit that you first
But
went to
Chris the
Detroit
one who
with.
really plugged you to be in this position.
He plugged me. Yeah, he definitely plugged me. He helped me a lot. I mean, he was away, but you know, he would give me advice. He would tell me different things.
Oh, so you
know,
stayed in communication with Chris.
every day.
So he ain't want for nothing in prison.
Nah, he actually he actually worked it out with the chaplain and ended up buying a whole music studio for the people who had life that had nothing to do. They had a mic, they had the keyboards, they had, you know, Christmas, he bought like 1,000 bags to make sure everybody, you know, he was good. You know, he always had like 15, 20 grand on his books at all times.
Right.
Did you ever think, like, any time during your career that being that your ties with Chris would ever tie up with the money, as far as like police thinking maybe, you know, you guys did something, you know,
thinking that?
illegal? The people
that's
who's
definitely
locked
what
him up, any type
happened.
of ties with that.
You know, he was not there when I started this. He was
Right.
already gone. But, you know, he was in sometimes an advisory position. I would run stuff past him, but he was in prison, so it was limited. But when I caught my case, they tried to tie him, into my case and say that I started my business with drug money because
Right.
he had an old drug case that he had done time for 13 years before that. He was just on paper.
Right.
So I said, I started this business with my brain. You know, and they just couldn't wrap their minds around that. They were like, no, what money did you use to start this company?
Right, like where these finances come
Right,
from.
but it was phone calls. I
Right.
provided a service and got paid for it, and then provided another service. So I never actually had to have startup money. It was just
And you had
Thank you.
you had the phone calls, and you also had the paper trail on everybody who you dealt with, so it was
Exactly.
easy to explain to them, right?
not really. I mean, you know, he's a smart guy, and they knew that. And, you know, in this country, they had an issue. This is a strong black woman, strong black guy.
Right.
They had an issue with that, and they kept trying to tie him into my case. Not to skip forward.
Yeah, because I want to get back into, because you said the exclusive.
Just remind me about that.
Nah, the exclusive. I was going to let you forget that.
Okay. So basically, at the time, we was kind of shady. I mean, at the time, Chris, was dealing with someone, and I was dealing with someone, and we kind of tried to move them out of the way so that we could do our thing. And it kind of backfired on us. I was on the phone. I had asked Terrell for a divorce, and he didn't want to give it to me. And I'll never forget, I was on the phone with him, and then my lawyer called, my divorce lawyer, who he hadn't spoken to yet, and I forgot he was on the phone. And I was talking to the lawyer, and I was like, "Can you just hurry up? I just wanted to get this over with, like, you know." And he heard me, and I felt so bad.
Oh, Terrell heard you.
Yeah, he heard me. You know,
but he still doesn't know at this time that you have the money,
knows
right?
Right now, he didn't know this part.
You don't know.
But nah, he didn't know about the money.
Okay.
You know,
But it hurt his feelings that you
heard that in the background.
Y'all childhood sweethearts.
Yeah, absolutely.
They hear some like, man, I just want it over. So now it
yeah,
bothers
I
him
was
some.
so focused on money. You know, and I mean, now that I'm older, I look back and I know, like, you know, there are other things more important than that. Not many, but some things.
Yeah, of course.
And, you know,
You live and you learn.
yeah, I was a little bit shrewd because I was so focused on business. But any big successful business person will tell you that they've had similar experiences, you know, because it takes certain sacrifices to get to certain points. I could have lived a more simpler family life, but I wouldn't have accomplished what I did. So I don't regret it. I regret sometimes the way that I handled it, but I don't regret what I did.
Of course.
So can you go, this is part of the book, 'cause I know a lot of females be watching this and they want to see the emotion of your ex-husband. So how when you said that to your lawyer, I just want to get over with.
Somebody was
what
like,
he said.
one of the people in my office was like, and I'm like, what? And they was like, the phone. I was like, oh shit. So I picked up the phone. I'm like, hello, and it was the dial tone. So I called him back, and he was like, yeah, I heard. You know.
He sounded hurt.
He sounded very hurt. He was very hurt. I mean,
You felt bad for him?
I felt terrible, but not terrible enough to go back. You know, I was still focused on
Get
what
that
I was
money.
doing. Yeah.
Did you did he call you back after that?
This the part. Y'all like this part. Yeah, actually, my whole bid, we were like this. We're still very close. We don't really talk now because he's remarried. He just got married about 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations to Terrell. He got married about 2 weeks ago. But his significant other doesn't really feel comfortable with us talking.
Right.
So we don't really speak. But there's definitely a friendship that will always be there and a high respect. He's a great person, you know, great guy. But he just was like, this bitch is crazy. But he knows me. He knows me very well. Yeah. And he definitely respects me. And he said I had to let her be who she is, you know. So we're good.
All right, so let's move it up a little bit because you got a lot of great things that happened in your life. So you were convicted of attempt and conspiracy to commit wire fraud?
Yeah.
And tampering with a witness?
I think we skipped some parts because, right? We skipped the parts.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
it's a crazy
let her
story.
go into,
You gotta ask
we get to it, but she got a whole lot. But go ahead. She got a whole lot.
Well,
It's a whole lot. We got to get to
now?
it.
No, because now we back to where Callie ended off at about the now you saying you playing with the money, the situation.
All right, so one of the things I talked about that kept happening with the money is this was a very short period of time. We're talking about 10 months, okay, that all of this transpired. So we're talking about me coming to a new town, opening up bank accounts with $500, $1,000, and then by the end of the month, many of these accounts would have $1 million, $2 million. And I kept getting kicked out of banks. I would get a call that says, please come and pick up a cashier's check. We're closing your account because of suspicious activity. And I'm like, well, what's the suspicious activity? And they were like, just large wires coming in from all over the world. I had clients all over. And, we don't really understand your business. So not that we think you're doing anything wrong, but we're just not comfortable. See, when you have that kind of money, you're supposed to be in these private banks. You're not supposed to be in small business checking online with everybody else who got, $500 in the bank. And you go to that teller and they pull up your account and they see $5-6 million. It's like, who the heck? It's suspicious looking.
Right.
So I kept getting kicked out of banks. So I contacted a friend, Eddie Gordon, Eddie Truck Gordon, He is an MMA fighter. He's from Freeport, went to school with me. He was the manager at Chase Bank in the investment division. And I asked him, listen, I keep getting kicked out of banks. Can you help me? You know, do you know what part of the bank will not look suspicious into my money because I got a lot? He said, yeah. You know, he said, when I said a lot, he's thinking 100, 200 grand. So I sent him a check. I don't know, 500 or 600,000. And I said, open an account. When he got the check, he called me tripping, like, yo, Ish, the hell you get all this money from? I said, my business. He said, shit, I'm here working these investment accounts. I make 60 grand. How can I make money? I said, I can plug you. I got something you can do to make money. It breaks bank policy, but it doesn't break the law.
Right.
You down? He said, I'm down. I said, all right, you're going to answer the phone for all my clients. You're going to say anything they ask you. You're going to respond with anything but numbers so that you're not breaking bank rules. And I'll pay you $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a call. He said, shit, I'm in. So
$5,000 a call?
yeah, I mean, I had so much money. You know, I had no problem breaking them off. So he was my banker. You cannot pay your banker. That is illegal.
Right.
You know,
Right.
well, for the bank. So when I would pay him, even though I banked at Chase, I would always put cash in his account.
Cash,
But I had this overzealous, this crazy extra teller one day. When I said I need 10,000 out and I'm gonna put 5,000 into his account, and they kept saying, why? Just do a transfer. I said, no, give me the cash, and then I'll do a second transaction.
Right.
He wasn't getting it. So I said, just give me the cash. And then this is the account I want to transfer the cash to. I should have never gave him the info that I wanted to transfer to, because when he gave me the money, he gave me $5 grand. I said, where's the other 5? Oh, I don't think you understand. I transferred it. I'm like, oh God.
Oh, so
Now
that
there's a
jammed you
direct
up.
transfer.
Right, so
from my
now there's a
account.
paper trail which you was
Absolutely.
trying to avoid.
So
Gotcha.
she did that on her own.
Yeah, but it was a guy, and
He did that on his own.
He did that on his own, thinking that I wasn't understanding.
Trying to help somebody, exactly.
Because he didn't want to have to do the double work. If I could do this in one shot and be done. She
Right.
wants to take money out, you know. Then
You just
come
want
back,
to
put money-
simply transfer it instead of taking it out, put it in, and then put it back into account.
Put you in that situation.
So hold 1 second. We need you people to like this, because this had to go viral, because this is a lot of education. So please, because I see you people, a lot of people who's watching this right now, but the likes is not adding up to the people that's viewing this. Please, can you like it? It's very important you like this video, because it helps the video grow. There's a lot of people online that's watching this, and the likes is not adding up. So please, if you have not hit the like button, please hit the like button, because it's very educational right here.
Next
So
to
go ahead.
BT, this is the most in-depth interview I've ever done.
And there it is.
There it is.
That's a fact.
And it's very, very informative. Very informative.
Yeah, because being that you brought BET, when we went to the 40/40 Club and we watched the premiere, and I was like, wow.
They cut so much
This
out.
girl here ain't no joke, man.
They cut
Yeah,
so
so
much
you able
out.
to give it up now, though.
Yeah, and you know, obviously there's been talks. You know, I'm getting calls. People
Yeah.
want to do like my life story. You know, 3-part series. It's just so much to try to condense into one program.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm definitely talking about that right now, because it's people are just so interested in this craziness.
Because you got
I'm very interested, but I don't want you to, because I know these people who watch this, they get on us when we skip a beat.
Okay,
So
all right.
you was
As
right
long as
at
I got the time.
so at the moment you was at right, you said the guy messed up and sent it directly.
Yeah, he sent it to, you know, his account. So I didn't hear nothing about it. I'm like, well, maybe nobody would catch it. Then he kind of disappeared. The guy, Eddie.
Oh, the guy, Eddie.
Yeah, he disappeared. He disappeared, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, and then he would call, I'm on vacation. I'll call his phone, I'm on vacation right now. Please leave me a message, blah, blah, blah. And weeks had passed. And then all of a sudden he comes back on the scene and he's like, yo, I was on vacation and I lost my job. And I'm like, oh God, why? He's like, you put money in my account. But it's okay. I'm gonna tell them, you know, we did go to high school together. I borrowed money. You borrowed money from me a long time ago and you was just paying me back.
Right.
I
Because
said,
it was
"Whatever
just
you
one
say."
transfer.
Right. I said, whatever
Only
you said.
5,000.
Well, no. After that, they went and looked. Now you can see other transfers.
I see what you're saying, because
Oh.
now they're looking
seeing the
at the
cash.
consistency
The
of
cash.
the money
Right,
that's been
right.
just automatically just put in there, not transferred, but just automatically put in the account.
Right, right. So now we're exposed. Now they see this, and now he says he lost his job. So I said, fuck your job. Let me tell you something. You don't even make 100 grand. You're so smart. I'm always looking to expand my team. I'll give you 200 grand. You can work for me. You didn't break the law, so you're not going to jail. And I was a little bit cocky with it because I had so much money. I'm like, $60,000, $70,000 job. You come work for me. But I didn't know that these were Secret Service recorded calls. He had already flipped. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know that at the time. So the first thing I do is say, I'm coming to New York and I'm going to give you some money. I know you just got married. I know you got a mortgage. I don't want you just, messed up over this, so I'm going to come. And he said, meet me at the diner in Freeport on Merrick Ave. And I went and met him there, and I gave him some money. He was wearing a wire. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know. And fortunately, I didn't talk to him about anything crazy because he could have got me in a lot more trouble, you know. But the first thing I said to him was, between me and you, I never asked you to do nothing illegal, right? And he would never answer me. That was like kind of a hint.
Right.
So there was some things that came up. You know my history, my dad, there's that side that's kind of like just the street side, where it's like, if somebody's going to be a problem for you, you got to deal with the problem. And there was like conversations, and I don't know how they got back or whatever, but there was conversations that said witness tampering, and that charge ended up coming up. I don't want to really speak to that too much because I wasn't sentenced on that, but that was one of the original charges. There was another person who was a witness, and the lawyer called and said I threatened them or whatever. I didn't threaten anybody, but at the end of the day, nobody's ever going to take away from what I did. If I don't put a gun to your head and I don't force you to do anything, you're just not going to walk away from your responsibility and throw me under the bus.
Right.
I got a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? And the government looks at that as, I guess, witness tampering, whatever.
Right.
So that's how that came about. But I have a big problem with snitches. Big problem. In prison, in the street.
Yeah.
I just feel like when you operate in a way where there's risk, you agree to that risk. And if you get caught up in that, it's your responsibility to deal with it.
Yeah, you gotta hold it down.
Did you ever find out what made Chris actually go get wired and all that? Like, what made him go so far?
It wasn't Chris. No. Chris was in jail. Chris was my guy that I was dealing with.
Okay, not Chris. Who was
this
it?
was Eddie Gordon.
Yeah, Eddie, the banker. So why you think he went that far to to do all of that?
Because he wouldn't go to jail.
But the only thing he did was lost the job.
That's what he was telling.
That's what he was saying. He was telling you that, but
yes.
he really was getting the case behind.
That's what the feds told him to say.
Okay, right, but he was getting the whole case behind it. Right.
They already got him, and for him to not go to jail or get less time, because sometimes you get a little bit of time behind it. Which ended up
happening.
He had to go by what they told him. He had to obey.
Right, of course.
All right, so Aisha, now we back at the restaurant. He wired up, and you get suspicious.
I don't know this at the time.
No, you don't know, but you get suspicious. You keep saying, listen, I actually do nothing. It was nothing illegal. He didn't answer you.
I'm so glad I did that because they ended up not being able to use those wires because what I was saying was not going to help them because I'm like, I didn't actually do nothing illegal, right? I kept saying that.
Yeah.
So it kind of, helped that. But I don't care. It was just the point that
your business was legal. It was legitimate.
It was
anyway,
legal,
yeah.
except for some of the transactions that I did. I started changing numbers on some of the documents to help people get into the trade faster.
Right.
Because a lot of the investors wasn't coming through, or if they were, it was taking too long.
Right, stating that some people have more money than what they had.
Right, that's exactly what it was. I stated they had more. That is what I got in trouble for.
Okay.
All of the work that went into learning trading platforms, learning commodities, none of that was even part of my case.
Right, but what would that fall under? False documentation? Like, what would that fall under?
The feds don't have that. They have wire fraud.
Okay.
So it's conspiracy to commit wire fraud. So it's so broad. It's so easy to charge people. If they had hit me with document fraud, that sounds crazy. You change a number on a document and you get 10 years, it doesn't really make sense. But conspiracy to commit wire fraud sounds so much more elaborate, so it justified in their eyes, I guess, giving me all that time.
Right.
So, okay, now you leave the restaurant with him, you go back to Detroit, right?
Yes.
You ain't get locked up right then.
No, and
You went back to
actually,
Detroit.
who was with me in the restaurant was Terrell. Because even though me and Terrell wasn't together, he was still like I trusted him. He rolled with me, and I made sure financially he was good. Right. So, I needed to make this trip, and Chris was in jail, and me and Rel was still like this, so he came with me to the restaurant just to make sure I was good,
So he still have no idea about no money at Rel, right?
No. Not at that time. No. It wasn't until when I waited for a check for like $4 or $5 million from the bank, and the bank said, you know, we're gonna mail it to you. I said, no. You're not mailing me no $5 million. I'm gonna come to the bank and you cut me a check. You don't want to bank with me? That's fine, but you're gonna give me my money.
Right.
And they were like, no, we can't. There's security risk. What if somebody? And I'm like, this is crazy.
That's your money.
It's my money. So they said, your original address on file is your Atlanta address. That's the address I lived at with Terrell at the time. And they said, we're gonna overnight the check there. And are you home? I said, I am. I am actually. They didn't know. I wasn't. I was in Detroit. So I went and got a lawyer, gave him some money, flew to Detroit. Flew to Atlanta, knocked on the door. And Terrell was like, oh, what's up? You know? I'm like, no, I'm not back here. But I am waiting on some money to come. He said, how much? I said, it's a good amount.
It's a good amount, right?
The lawyer didn't know either, because he gave me a price. I said, what do you charge to fly one day with me to Atlanta? What is your fee? Your fee, you know, shouldn't be contingent upon what I have. What's your fee? So he didn't know. So everybody obviously was shocked when the Secret Service walks in. Well, I'm thinking UPS is bringing a check. It wasn't UPS, it was the Secret Service bringing a warrant for my bank accounts. So, and it's crazy because at that time, you know, there was guns. My husband at the time, he had guns in the house. We moved to Atlanta, and you know, when you're from New York, when you move down south, it's like, you know, we can have here. He had a 1 to 10. That's how they do in Georgia.
Wow.
So when they didn't find, and I gotta tell y'all this. You know The Secret? You familiar with The Secret?
Yeah, absolutely.
I wrote a check to myself for $1 million way before I knew about any of this. And I put it on a computer in that house. Before I left and all of that. I forgot about it. When they came and searched the house, they found that check. And they're like, Ms. Hall, what is this? And I was like, oh shit, it worked. I wrote a check to myself for $1 million. And here I am back, you know, a year later. And I really.
That's what they did in The Secret.
And I did it, and it worked.
It worked.
It worked. I just had to share that
Speaking
because it's real. I spoke
Absolutely.
it really
Universe,
worked. Yeah, it really did.
I believe it.
Yeah, so that's how that happened, and you know. It just went from there. So now, what happened after that? You want me to keep going?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yes, please.
You the star.
Please, this is very interesting. Excuse me, Vito, I need to see.
So what happened after that? They didn't arrest me. They arrested Terrell. He bonded out the next day. But I went back to Detroit and sat down with my team. Like, what are we gonna do now? You know, they done seized all the money, millions of dollars gone, done, over. I don't have a penny to my name. I had about maybe 30, 40,000 because I had cash, but that was it. And I got this office, I got this team who I'm responsible for, and I'm like, damn, you know, what am I gonna do? And Chris called me and said, yo, I was sitting in the cafeteria in jail, and I overheard this guy talking about getting gold in Sierra Leone, in Africa. He was talking about pennies, you know, little bit here and there, 3,000 and 4,000 worth. But the way you move, you know, you turn that into a lot. So I'm like, so I had my cousin Nadia, who was actually on the show, the girl with the ponytail.
Yeah.
Light-skinned girl. I said, do all the research you could do and find out everything about this gold trade. I went in. And make a long story short, I ended up sending some guys to Sierra Leone, and we bought gold, kilos and kilos of gold, and turned, you know, a small $60,000, $70,000 investment into $1 million and change. Now, mind you, this is after they took everything from me. So they like, this bitch is crazy. So now she done lost all these millions, and here we are a couple of weeks later, and she's back in the M's again. You know, because now I figured out the formula. You buy low, sell high. Doesn't matter what it is. I look around the room, I'm like, okay, this is, concrete or wood, that's sold. This is plastic, that's sold. This is paper, that's sold. You need trees to do it. All of these things are commodities that are bought and sold by the thousands and millions of metric tons every day. So I always knew that I could try to squeeze myself into some type of deal, and it worked with the gold. And here I was again, making, I was in the M's. And that's when the feds was like, all right, we're going to take this bitch down. And that's when I ended up getting a charge that went from that civil case when they arrested my bank accounts to them now putting out arrest warrants for me.
Right.
It really was a hater move.
But yeah, that's what I understand, because wasn't the case over once they took all the money and seized everything?
It was
they
a
still,
civil
it
case.
was still open.
It was still open.
Yeah,
it was a civil case.
Okay.
Like they were suing me and they took my money. When the government sues you, it's a U.S. civil case. United States versus Aisha Hall, civil court, not criminal court.
Okay.
I was on the bus when they remanded me to come to court, and I was going to MDC Brooklyn, and the bus got pulled over by the Secret Service, the U.S. Marshal bus. The Secret Service pulled them over. I was in the cage. I'm the only girl, and all the guys are on there. And they pulled the bus over, and they asked for me. The U.S. Marshals was like, what the hell? Nobody pulls over the U.S. Marshals.
Right.
It's the Secret Service, and they asked for me. I'm like, so they on the bus like, Ma, you a terrorist. And I'm like, I don't know so I don't like to let people see me down. I did have some tears falling because I'm scared. I'm like, the hell?
Right.
So
Stopping the whole bus.
Yeah,
like,
so
what?
they put me in the truck with them, and they was like, you just had to go to Africa, huh? And I'm like, is he serious right now? And they followed the bus to MDC, same place. I could have stayed on there, but he wanted to talk shit. He was like, but now you're going down. Now you're not the boss lady no more. Right, boss lady? Right, boss lady? They kept calling me boss lady, being funny. And I was remanded, and I've been locked up ever since.
Right.
So you got sentenced to 126 months. And the feds, share this with the people. In the feds, they count as months. So 126 months is 10 and a half years. For those. So she got sentenced to 10 and a half years in federal prison.
And when you get sentenced, you do some math in your head real quick. Because you get sentenced and you're like, wait, 12 months, 12 months.
Yeah.
And
The
you
feds
like,
do
wait,
months. You got to
100
calculate that
I'm
shit.
like, wait, hold up.
126, like what?
Because when I was in there, when they sentenced me, I'm like,
give me days. Give me days. Don't
Yo,
do
you want to hear the
120
time.
months, right?
You want to hear the time. Like, what the hell is that?
Months. So when he broke it down, he see me struggling with the math because I'm like, I got to be making a mistake. He's like, 10 and a half years. Like, let me break it down for you.
And it's funny now, but it wasn't funny
Oh,
then.
man, that was the craziest
That sounds like
day of my life.
a life sentence.
Yeah, definitely. For a woman, it can be a life sentence. I don't have any children. Depending on your age, they can take that from you. You know what I'm saying? It was definitely unexpected. My lawyer said I was going home that day. But what happened was, when I pled guilty, I said I did change documents. So I'm not going to win a trial. Because at any cost, they can find me guilty of that. I'm not going to play myself. I'm going to plead guilty, but what you're accusing me of, I didn't do. They were saying that I had all these victims. No, if you come to me to buy money, you can't buy documentation. You either have the money or you don't. Or you borrow it. You weren't borrowing it from me. So you're buying documentation that says you're worth more than what you are. You're not a victim. You're paying me for it. And then you came back and paid me multiple times.
And see, the sad part is about that when when they accuse you of that, they document it. Because right here it says you were convicted of attempt and conspiracy to commit wire fraud, tamper with a witness, victim, or informant. It was sentenced to 126 months in federal prison and 3 years supervised release and $6.85 million restitution.
That's correct.
So you're still paying restitution?
Every month.
Damn, 6 point. Damn.
And you know what?
Almost $7
They
million.
fabricate
Now,
stuff too,
hold
though.
on. This is the worst part. They seized from that money that was seized did not get applied to that
Right.
restitution.
They took that.
So they took that and now I have to pay it
See,
again.
that's bad.
That
That's
did.
bad. That should have been applied.
You
They
taking
took
$4 or
it,
$5 million. So if I were to give them any benefit of the doubt, just for argument's sake, my restitution should have been $1 million and change.
It should have, yeah.
Not 6.8. So what happened? If I have all these victims, why y'all good United States didn't take that money and give it to the victims?
Right.
They kept it.
So
and
let
then
me
told
ask
me
you,
I have to
your
pay
lawyer
it
ain't
again.
trying to fight it? You still trying to fight that?
No, my case is over. My case is over.
They
I'm not
just want to
So-
spice up the charges on it.
Yeah, but that's
all.
bad though.
They
Like
just
you
wanna
said, should have been
spice up the
applied though.
charges, you know what I'm
You
saying?
would think it'd be applied.
Oh, I tried. I mean, I appealed several times, but it got denied. You know,
And how much time did you end up serving out of the
9
10?
years. Because I got 10.5 years.
Right.
Yeah, you get 2
Wow.
months good time off for a year.
Yeah.
So,
But
so
then they didn't even try to lessen your sentence, being that it was your first attempt.
nah,
It's
they
the
don't-
feds.
nah,
There's
they
no
don't do
such
that,
thing.
Kelly.
Dang, 9
The
years.
feds, the feds, baby, they don't play
Yeah,
like
they don't
this
do
ain't the
that.
state. Let's make a deal.
Yeah, do
When
that
you gonna
time.
get a deal, you gotta tell on somebody.
Yeah, do
You
that
ain't telling
time.
you doing all that.
Right.
So how do you felt as a female at that age, being in federal prison?
You know, in the beginning, I was definitely in denial. And very early on of me going into prison, my brother got killed. So I was dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? That whole numbness of, this is crazy. And then I was really counting month to month because I was still going to court. So, you know, in prison, when you go to court, you living from court date to court date.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah,
really
true,
like
yeah.
looking at your out date because you still have, you thinking in your mind something might happen.
Right. You Xing your days out to see
Right.
when
It
your
wasn't
court date
until
comes
2
up.
years after I was in MDC when I transferred to Alderson, I was like, yo, I'm really here. And my friend actually today texted me a prison picture, and on the back I was like, she took a picture of the back, and I said, I'm really here. I can't believe it, you know. And that
Right.
was when I got to Alderson, and I was like, I'm really in prison. This is I'm gonna be stuck here. Let me figure this
So
out.
when you saw Aisha Hall, the United States of America versus Aisha Hall, how did that grab you?
It's like unrealistic.
So you had no co-defendants?
Oh yeah, everybody who worked for me, my whole team, those guys I talked about, everybody was on my case.
Anybody on that case flip?
My guys stayed down. I had 3 people that flipped. 2 females and 3 females, I should say, because he was a bitch for doing that. The one that wore the wire. So 3 females,
Hey,
2
I like
natural
that.
born females, and 1 bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Hold up. I like that.
Yeah.
Hold up. Y'all got the call. If y'all want to talk to you put the phone up there, Clique. If y'all want to talk to Aisha and ask her a question, because it's just, I love this interview right here. 646-628-4264. 646-628-4264 if you want to speak to her. Call in.
So you know, so about the feds, right? You know how the feds move you around. How many prisons were you in before you came home?
Well, I was in MDC Brooklyn. And then I transferred, during transfer to Oklahoma Transfer Center. Are you familiar with that? That's where Con Air,
Yeah, y'all.
which was the worst part of the entire bid, because you shackled at your feet, at your waist, your hands.
Yeah.
And you know what? I felt like they should call that, instead of Con Air, Amistad. Because all of those black guys and brown guys that are chained together, it's like a sea, endless of them. It's like the most saddest thing you ever see. Just endless. In the winter, they wearing those windbreakers, with no jackets. You're standing out there for hours, switching planes, and everybody's just shackled together, and these marshals are out there with those, big, giant guns pointed at you. Do not move, the helicopter. It's just extra.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And a majority of these people, they nonviolent offenders, and everybody's being treated so messed up. That was very difficult, and all the brothers, they like, hold your head, sis, hold your head. And, talking to a female in transit like that could get you the box. You familiar with the box?
Yeah,
The box,
yeah.
or, get at the mat, anything. Like, it's just so inhumane. Just even trying to go to the bathroom. As a girl, you got to pull your pants down. They don't want to shackle you.
That box you can't move.
You box, you can't move. And the inmate came up with the box.
Yeah, I heard about
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah.
feds,
The marshals tell you that every time.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
They
He
gotta
was in the
let you
state
know.
though. He was a state prisoner that came up with that box.
Yeah.
A state inmate came up with the idea of a box. Ain't that so?
So you know what my question is, Aisha? At what point did you reach out to your family, and how did they feel about it? Were they shocked
Oh, I
about the
was
whole
in
ordeal?
contact with my family the entire time.
Were they shocked about the whole situation?
Yeah, let me ask you a question.
How your
So,
father
Like, how
felt?
how was that?
My
Especially
father,
when they knew how much money was involved. Like, how did they
nobody
respond
really
to that?
knew. They were shocked, but all of that was pushed to the side because of my time. That's what their biggest concern was. They dealt with that, but they were more focused on, like, Aisha's locked up doing all of this time. You
your
know,
mom, when I watched the the BET
Oh,
special.
my baby.
Your mom was she was very, very, very touched by that.
Yeah.
You talk about that?
Yeah, you know, my mom, she took it. My mom and my grandfather took it the hardest, but my mom took it especially hard. My brother was just killed, you know, right before I got sentenced. So it was like she felt like she lost 2 children, you know. So she really had a hard time. And the judge used her anguish against me. When I spoke, I said, you know, I'm so sorry to my mother who has to deal with this. He said, yeah, you did it. Like, so my mother flipped, like, don't you dare try to, you know, make my daughter feel some type of way about the sentence that you gave her. You know, you over-sentenced my daughter. You know, for changes in documents, people who raping, killing, they're not getting that kind of time, you know?
Right.
So it was taken very harsh. They was locked up right with me, you know, so.
Yeah,
I can imagine. That's rough. You know, 9 years, like that's pretty rough. 9 years just for forced documentation.
So
I mean,
moving money around.
yeah, like
You ain't
especially
hurt
when you
nobody,
don't
man.
even have you
But
didn't
I'm
even have
hurting
any
them.
victim. You didn't have any
I
victims.
didn't, but I'm hurting them. I'm hurting the status quo. I'm hurting the way that, you know, black women are viewed and limited. I'm changing the whole paradigm of how we're viewed. You know, they kept trying to evoke Chris into my case. Had to be a man involved. No, this was a female who did this.
Right.
And they did not like the fact that I ran this business on my own. I don't know if it scared them. I don't know if they felt I was out of my place.
Yeah, because they
it
like to
definitely-
set certain limitations on us.
Right.
Definitely.
So most of your co-defendants, how much time on average? Like
3 years, 5 years, 7 years. You know, they got time.
Oh, they got time.
They got
7?
time.
That's pretty.
Oh yeah, you can get some time.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm figuring they like, you know, lower level. I ain't think
There
they
was a
got
toll
much time.
got the 3, huh?
He probably got.
The
6
people who
months.
told got absolutely no time.
Yeah.
They got probation or the case dismissed. So they got no time.
So you was in Alderson Federal Prison camp.
I was in
And,
Alderson.
it was for women, AKA Camp Cupcake. they call it?
AKA Camp Cupcake.
And-
Martha Stewart gave it,
Yeah,
gave it that
the
name.
prison house famous female inmates like Martha Stewart, Lynette Squeaky Foam, Billie Holiday, and Elizabeth Gurley Flint.
Yes, yes. And actually, Asada Shakur was there for a very short time. Back when, but at that time when she was there, the prison was segregated. It was actually one of the only federal prisons that segregated, you know, their inmates well into like the late 70s. They kept the whites and the black inmates separate. And she was there before she transferred. I think she escaped from Lexington. I'm not really sure, but she transferred to another prison, but she was there first.
When you went to prison, did you know anybody there?
Yes, I did. Not, you mean like when I got to prison, or when I got to MDC? Like when
Well, I'm pretty sure MDC because it's right there in Brooklyn.
right, I didn't know. I knew one person at MDC actually. This one girl. I didn't know her, but I knew who she was. But the first person that I met there was Shelly Santu. I walked in, I had a weave, and they was like, "You got to take your weave out." And I'm like, I just got it done. That's not possible. And you know what I'm saying? She came with a damn letter opener. And like, you better, I said, it's sewn in, I can't. She was like, you can't go upstairs until this is out. So you go, and nobody, you know what a holding cell is like, you need to get the hell out of there. So this one girl helped me cut it out. And it was so crazy because I in my book, The Pink Panther Clique, I talk about the lady coming in the next day with a weave. I said, I know that's my hair. That bitch got her hair.
Nice and fresh,
Sold it
just
in.
got it
That fresh Indian.
in. Like, cut that thing right, please.
So since you mentioned the Pink Panther Clique, what is the Pink Panther Clique, and can you get into that real quick?
Absolutely. The Pink Panther Clique is so dope. It is a group of women. Actually, the Pink Panther Clique the idea came from Jamila T. Davis. She used to have Pink Panther records back in the day because, she went to prison for, doing real estate, and she did all the luxury cars for like some of the big rappers and stuff. And she was into the music business. So she had Pink Panther records. And then she decided Pink Panther Clique would be a dope name for a group of women who came together, to tell their cautionary tales, who were all bosses. So Shawana King, a.k.a. Wana Got Class, on Instagram, that's Wana Got Class, was at Danbury, my best friend. I met her at MDC. She went to Danbury, though. At Danbury, she met Jamila. and Jamila wrote a lot of books. And she told Jamila, you should meet my best friend Aisha Hall. She writes books too. I think y'all would collaborate well together. So Jamila ended up transferring by happenstance to Alderson, and when we were there, Jamila introduced me to Sunshine Smith Williams, Sunny Money Queens, who then started our social media platform.
Right.
And I turned around and I introduced Jamila to Brandy Davis. And so me, Jamila, Brandy, Shawana, Sunny, you know.
So it's 5 women.
Well, it's really like 100 women, but the founders are those 5 women.
Okay.
Yeah.
And y'all pretty known out there.
Yeah, and you know what's so crazy? It's been a lot of controversy with the Pink Panther Clique. Because what happened is, when you're in prison, you gotta do everything together. You eat together, you shower together, you walk the yard. And when we came home, we had that same energy, but then it's like, ain't no chow hall.
Right,
We gotta
right.
buy our food.
Right.
You know, ain't no clothes, that laundry coming from the prison laundry room. We gotta buy our clothes. So now we started doing our own separate things to make money. And some of us were over here, some of us were over there. Then there was controversy about, well, did you forget about the sisterhood? No, did you forget about? But it was like that sisterhood in prison is different than life out here. People have children. Your sister is your priority in prison. That's who you make sure eat. That's who you make sure is good. You know, if in the real world, you make sure your children are good first.
Yeah,
but
so
you
many
don't have
different
that in there.
responsibilities.
So there was some of that that got a little to the left, and it's cool now because it's all coming back together. And we've been approached for like reality shows and all of that. So it's a lot of good stuff going on with the. Shout out to the Pink Panther Clique.
And
Shout out.
all of y'all successful in your own way.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Yeah, all
so
of y'all successful in your own way.
All y'all from New York?
All of us are from. No. I'm from New York. Jamila's from New York. Shawana's from New York.
Sonny from New York, right?
Sonny's from New York. Brandy is from Detroit, and she lives in Atlanta.
Right.
So 4 out of 5.
4 out of the 5 is from New York. But she might as well be from New York. She come here, she know her way around. But yeah, and it's dope because we've been such a, you know, the core is we've been such an example to so many women. And we talk about how women can't get along and all these different things. And we was like, that's not us. And then for us to come and have any type of craziness, it was like, wait, we got to reel it all in because people believe in us and we got to keep that at the forefront. So
Yeah,
it's
keep
cool.
that same
We all
energy.
came together at the premiere, and it was
Yeah.
just so dope. Not only us, but people I was locked up with from all over the country flew in and came to that event, and we just had a great time together.
So you know what I like
nice.
about the Pink Panther Clique is that all of y'all women are independent black business women. They're all successful in their own way.
Yes, those
They
are
all
my
doing their thing.
sisters.
They doing when I say they doing their thing legit, and they all successful, man. They
Yeah,
all.
those are my sisters.
Hey, Sunny Money does
it's
real
not-
estate, right?
Yes, and let me tell you something.
Everything.
It's not easy.
No.
You know, I got a big platform, a lot of people watching, but when you lose everything and you're going for a decade, and this decade that passed was one of the most technologically advancing decades known to mankind. So I came home to new social media, new technology. Like I came home to I'm still adjusting.
So many different changes, right?
Yeah, some of the things I was doing to make money, 1, 2, 3, I can't do that anymore. So I have to relearn the world. So, and that was all of us having to do that.
Right.
So it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? And now I see the plan of the struggle. The struggle is paying my bills. When I was in prison, I couldn't see that. I'm in hell. I never knew that this survival story would be a way to the bag.
Right.
It's crazy how it all came together. Like
So the reality show that's in the works.
that's in the works. Yeah, that's in the works.
I think it's gonna happen because y'all name.
Oh no, it's gonna happen. We almost in like a bidding war. Everybody wants us. We got all the networks asking for the Pink Panther Clique. You know, you got I don't know if I'm allowed to say the networks, but big networks. Them over here, them over here. You know, them trying to. Well, we want y'all 3. Okay, we want all of y'all. Okay, we want you. You know, we want your life story. It's crazy.
See, the one who said they want y'all 3, that's not gonna happen.
Right.
See, because it's not gonna work. See, now you divide and conquer right there. How you gonna have a Pink Panther Clique and y'all the 5 founders and you saying you want 3?
No, that's true. But you
Yeah,
know,
that's a
one
problem.
issue that we have right now is some of us are white collar, some of us are drugs. So we have an issue where some networks don't want drug cases on the show.
Oh.
So we're trying to work through that right now. Like, you know, depending on the level of the drug case, you know, like even like
Yeah, they're looking at all that.
Right, but then
Pass
that's
on
some
you.
of the biggest story. Brandy Davis,
That's Detroit, right?
that's Detroit. You know, her baby father was in BMF. She has a
Yeah, she's
crazy
in
story.
BMF. Yeah, I
you know,
yeah.
and it's like some of the networks are like, ooh, that's juicy. We need that, and some are like, we scared of that. So it's just we just trying to figure it all out right now.
And you know what I wanted to mention? You made a negative situation into a positive, something so positive. You know, you met all these women, and you know, you guys turned a negative situation into something great. And I also see here that you are one of the best-selling nonfiction novelists. So congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
And you wrote 8 novels. So what was these novels about, and what was it consist of? What stories did you have in there?
These were novels. These were urban books.
Mm-hmm.
I was inspired by Wahida Clark. She's the New York Times best-selling urban author.
Mm-hmm.
You know, authors like Ashley Jaquavis that wrote The Cartel. These are great books.
Right.
Very popular. And when I read them, I was like, oh, I could write like this, because I wrote music already. You know, I was writing music since I was a kid.
Right.
And these stories were just extensions of music. So it was very easy for me to write. And I ended up writing Boss Life, Keyman Lamar, A Ghetto Love Story, parts 1, 2, and 3. The backside of this story I wrote with Kimberly Smedley. That book was pretty cool.
Is it short excerpts or it's long?
No, these are 350-page novels. So
Okay.
they're all, you know, full-length books. Kim Smedley, I co-wrote her book with her. She went to jail for doing illegal bus shots. She came in and found me and said, I got a crazy story to tell. I done did every celebrity's ass, and I want to tell it. And I'm like, ooh.
Stuffing buns with the wrong stuff.
So I was like, wow.
Illegal butt shots. It's a hell of a charge.
And
What you in there for? Illegal butt shots.
Yo,
They got
so much money in that though.
Listen,
How much time do you get for that?
the FDA.
Good time. That's victims.
I know, but I want
Now
to know how
that's
much time. How
The
much time?
FDA has their own. Every federal department, whether it's the post office, the FDA, they all have their own police.
Yeah.
So she got arrested by the FDA, but she's walking through the prison, and chicks was like, "Yo, you don't think you could find a way to do it in here?" Like it's crazy, that phenomenon. So
That's not the young lady who was doing it in an apartment in Queens and someone died.
No. That wasn't part of her story, because then she would have had like a manslaughter charge.
Yes,
or
yes,
something.
yeah.
She didn't
I don't
have
think
that.
The girl got that much time. Who did that?
I don't know who that was.
What's her name? Okay, I remember the story.
Oh, okay. But she did some of your biggest, most popular celebrities. Because the fat transfer, you have to have a certain amount of fat.
Yeah,
I did a
that's
lot
true,
of research when I wrote the book. And a lot of people are small, but they want that booty. So the only other option was the silicone. But silicone being injected straight into the body, it can go into the bloodstream and you can die. So, you know, it's illegal in the United States to do it, period. You can't even go to a doctor and get it done. So that's why it was so popular, because, you know, only people doing it in, you know, dark alleys and motels and shit was doing it. Yeah, she was trained by a transvestite who was injected men and all kind of stuff. It's a crazy story, so you gotta get that book, the backside of the story. But anyway, that one, Kings Reign Supreme, that was another book I wrote. I can't even think of all of them. It was like 13 books that I wrote. So I wrote.
How many were published out of all 13?
8 or 9 are published.
Okay.
Yeah. Just go to like Amazon and put in Aisha Hall, and
You know,
the
pull
books
up.
will
Okay.
come up.
All right, so let's talk about your music.
Yeah, I got a song. Can we play it?
Absolutely.
I got a song. Now, this song is very special. My View. And the first words are, do you know what it was like waiting for a date? Like, wait, you mean I got to do another 8? That's how the song starts.
Right.
And it just goes into the bid. It's a very special, personal song to me. So
So I need y'all to
I
listen
need y'all
up.
to listen to that song.
Listen to it. Also, hit that like button, man. Come on, before he get into hit that like button.
Shout out to CJ the Great for the track.
Yeah. Let's go.
Do you know what it was like waiting for a date? Like, wait, you mean I gotta do another 8? My niggas 8, so fuck it, I provided the plate. I inspired my face, millions was hitting my bank. Bitch, you could never relate. Sitting on my bunk and start to grovel. How I'ma get through this? I got 3,000 more tomorrow. Where my heart was beating, now it's hollow. My niggas doing time, I'm guilty cause I'm who they follow. To the hell gates, I wish that jail was co-ed so we could be cellmates. Instead I had to see how long this fucking mail take. A milli for the bill, great. No dickie for a dime, I hope I stay straight. I could've did less time, but I ain't never told. Man, I could never fold, sticking to the G code. I was heavy in my bag, all in beast mode. When the time come, no heat, had to sleep cold.
Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from Aisha Hall, an inmate at Florida Correctional Institution. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. To accept charges, press 1. To refuse charges, thank you for using T-Medics. You may start the conversation now.
Yo, what's good?
What's good? What you mean what's good? You ain't send no money, no pictures, like what's really up with you?
I told you I ain't got it right now, man. When I get it, you got it.
Man, whatever. Alright. Forced up, I had to do whatever's necessary. Two from one store, stacking up on commissary. First time in the whole shit was very scary. Yelling through the bars, man, I know these motherfuckers hear me. Seeing bitches getting time every day. Lies said that I'm a Muslim, keep the swine off my tray. Stealing chicken out the kitchen, shit is mine anyway. Sitting kicking with my bitches, then divide up the plate. See another sister starve, baby, I could never. We gon' eat as a mob, or we starve together. Telling stories on the yard with some down ass bitches. More money, more heart than y'all clown ass niggas. Seqo, yelling hall, you better fall in line. Sometimes I wanna sleep, man, fuck count time. Man, fuck this time. Give a bitch 10 years for this punk ass crime. 10 mil, that was crumbs. Wait till next time. I can try to put it in a song. I can try to make them understand. But unless you've been through it, you can't. Real shit. Aisha Hall. Hold your head. All my sisters locked down. Hold your head.
Okay.
Nice.
That's me right there.
That's me.
That's hard.
That's me. We definitely need y'all people.
Yeah.
Hit that like button. Hit that
Yeah.
like button. I want to give a shout out to One Main TV. He always support.
That's right.
Lionel always support. Sean John, Al-B.
My girl Lola on there.
Lola Wise. A lot of
Yeah.
people always support, but we need y'all people to hit that like button. You know, One Main, tell them to hit that like button.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
yes, Aisha.
Global Media, my man, Global Media.
Global Media.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Everyone who support the Beat 139, you know what I mean? They work with us. They be on this chat. I definitely want to shout them out. And they you know, be on people about hitting that like button. You know, support and let this interview grow. This definitely enlightened. They loving this interview right now.
Absolutely.
That's dope.
So let's get more to the music. So let's go on. What's going on with your music career right now?
So, you know, I have so much going on, but music is like, you know, number one is the connection to my father, because that's where, you know, it all started. So the music is like very, very important to me. You know, I'm a real MC. Like, I'm not one of these lollipop rappers, you know, talking about I got my ass out and all of that. I talk about, it's important for me personally to talk about real shit, you know, bring authenticity to the game, especially the female rap game, because it's a little bit, you know, fake, you know, on the surface. And I knew there was a lane, or I hoped there was a lane for that, for authentic, you know, rapping, you know.
There definitely is, because honestly, that's what we're missing.
Now, I came home to Instagram, right? It didn't exist before. So, you know, I got real money. You know, it was times when I would get my receipt out of the ATM and it couldn't show my whole balance because this receipt was too skinny. This is like the type of money I had. And I watch Instagram and I see all of these people flossing with all of this stuff. And it's like, wow, this is funny because the people who really get it don't show it like that.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm
Discreet
saying?
about it, absolutely.
Right. And I feel like people are creating this false pressure for themselves to live this lifestyle. And unless you was doing something like I'm doing, or I was doing, or you have this very successful business or something, how is it possible that you looking like you making the same money I was making?
Right.
So let me talk about what really goes into that. Let me talk about my experience. Let me bring
talk
that,
about it.
you know?
Talk about it.
So that's where the music is for me. It's important and it bridges all my other. I'm a businesswoman first, so most of the rappers rapped trying to get rich. I was rich trying to rap now, so it's a difference. You know what I'm saying? So the music is important to me because it bridges and brings a coolness to the intellectual. It brings a coolness to being a business person, and you know people gotta respect the story because it's real.
And how long have you been doing it?
All my life. So my father was in the music, so I started like when I was 6, 7 years old. So I
you
never
was
not
always
did
writing.
music.
Okay.
Yes.
So did your father get killed while he was in prison?
No, my father got killed after he got deported to Jamaica. He got stabbed to death. So some crazy guy, he got into a fight with him, and my father was like, yo, just cool, boss, you know, like everything is good. And he walked away, and the people said that, you know, the guy just hit him in the head from behind and then just jumped on him and started stabbing him up, you know.
Wow.
So it's a sad story.
Okay, we
But,
got a caller, Aisha.
Okay.
We got a caller. Somebody want to holler at you.
Caller. Hello, caller.
Yeah, I'm watching the live Aisha Hall right now.
Where you from, caller? Well, state your name and where you from.
My name is Antoinette. I'm calling from California.
California in the building. You here with Aisha Hall?
What's up, California? How you doing?
My name is Antoinette. I'm calling from California. California in the building.
You have to turn the volume down.
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm good.
I wanted to know how much time did you have to do, like, on your whole little stretch?
Yeah, I did nine years. I was sentenced to 10.5 years. So I had to do 9 years of my time.
You had to do all of it?
9 years.
9 out to 10.5.
Wow. And I'm glad you out, though, man. You doing some boss moves, though. I like what you're doing. I'm following your Instagram and everything.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Did you have a chance to check out the special on BET?
Yep, I checked that out already.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
We definitely appreciate your support. Did you hit that like button?
Yes, I did.
I appreciate that. No, it's important. I know I'm stressing this because this is definitely a great interview. We want this to go viral. The more people like it, the more people, see it. So that's why I ask everybody to like and subscribe because we definitely have a lot of dope interviews out here.
Yeah, I will hit that subscribe button also, too.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
so it's on B. Can you
appreciated.
tell people where they can find
the special? So they can go to BET Plus. They can download the app if they have a smart TV. They can also look at it through Amazon Prime, Hulu, pretty much most of those big streaming companies. You can just put in BET Plus and it will come up, and then you can look up American Gangster Trap Queens, episode 6.
Definitely.
Thank you, caller, for calling in.
Thank you.
Thank
you, caller.
Anyone else want to call 646-628-4264. 646-628-4264 if you want to speak to Aisha.
All right, so Aisha, right, let's move it up a little bit. So we know that K. Slay hosted a mixtape release party, something like that. You and K. Slay and all that?
Yeah, K. Slay.
Last September.
That's my boy.
At Revolution in Amityville, Long Island.
Yes.
So how did y'all get connected? Shout out to K. Slay, my man.
Shout out to K.
45.
Slay.
Yes.
We was on
K.
K. Slay a
Slay.
couple weeks ago.
Yes, K. Slay is the bomb. K. Slay actually first interviewed the Pink Panther Clique, so he had us all up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got up there, we was talking about, our whole experience in prison and all of that. And then, it came out that I was the rapper, so I spit. And then he had me come back again. Mm-hmm. And then we did the cover of Straight Stuntin' magazine, which was so dope. Mm-hmm. We took the orange jumpers, and we had them remade and, cut and sewn sexy.
Yeah.
And it went viral. I mean, anybody who I've met in prison saw that magazine.
Right.
I go random place and they're like, was you in K. Slay? He did us a lot of justice. We looked classy and sexy, and it was an article on each of us in there, and it went viral in the prisons, because that's a very popular magazine, and it was dope. So shout out to K. Slay.
Definitely shout out to K. Slay. Keep it 100.
Yeah, he do.
Everybody say, "Oh, I keep it 100," but that's not true. He keeps it 100.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Shout out to K. Slay.
Shout out to
That's
K.
my
Slay.
boy right there. All right, so we're going to move some more. 'Cause you got a lot going on.
I know.
But we got to touch on everything before you leave. You know what I'm saying? Because you know.
I got y'all doing overtime right now.
Yeah, you overtime.
We normally have two guests, but we had to do one.
But you
today.
deserve it though because you working.
Thank
you. You know, you ain't
Thank
overtime because we want to have you hanging around. You're overtime because you got it. Like you work for that.
And your story is
and your
interesting.
story is
and
like
everyone wants to hear
inspiring,
it.
not just the community and young girls, inspiring everybody that you know you can have a life like this and be very smart and get all that money, go away, do time, and come home and transition and do your thing on another platform. You know what I'm saying? Because you know God is good all the time.
Absolutely, and I don't fake the funk. I don't go talk to kids or talk to people and say, you know, don't do crimes. I don't do that.
Right.
Because I never tell somebody how to get their bag.
Right.
All I can do is tell you about the risks and what can happen.
Right.
If somebody says, listen, I'm ready to go to jail and sit down for 20, who am I to argue with you? If that's what you want to do,
Right.
all I can tell you is what it's like. And then you make a decision from there. Because, you know, I have some controversial thoughts about things and opinions, you know, unless they start locking up these pharmaceutical companies with all these people are hooked on these pills and stuff, then I don't necessarily want to bash
real victims that's out there,
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, if you're gonna criticize and give life sentences to drug dealers, then go lock up these pharmaceutical companies that are doing the same thing,
Right.
You know, and the doctor's prescribing it. You're not gonna do that. You're gonna target, you know, the way that the hood tends to medicate themselves. But when people in other communities, you know, that are non-black or maybe more suburban, medicate themselves through those other means, you're not going after those people. So I'm very, very cautious about the way that I speak about, you know, crimes and what is and what isn't. You have to learn the power of decision making. Nobody's holding a gun to your head. You know, you have to learn how to be responsible for your own actions. And I know some of the best men and women that were some of the best hustlers, that would be some of the best CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. It's just that the product that they're selling now is illegal. I know people doing life, well, 25 years to me is life, for weed. And in their same state, it's now legal. So you have groups of people that determine what's morally right and what's morally wrong when they feel it's convenient for them. So I can't condemn.
Or which case they feel they want to bust
you
at
know,
the time.
It's not right. So all I say is, you do live in America, they do have harsh laws, and if you are gonna do this and that, don't do it unless you're ready to possibly do the time. That's all I can say. What you choose to do, if you're not physically harming people against their will, I can't tell you this is wrong or this is right, but I can tell you the consequences. And I'm very clear about that, because people say, you know what, they gotta come home and such and such gotta change their life about this and that. It's much deeper than that. And I don't wanna get caught up in condemning, you know, my neighborhoods and my people because of the circumstances and some of the things that we've been subjected to. I'm very passionate about that, and I make myself very clear because I don't want to get it misconstrued, you know. Go get a bag. Go do great things with your life. If you're smart, do things that won't get you in trouble. That's my suggestion to you. If you choose not to, I hope you can do the time. Because if you go ratting and snitching, if it was up to me, you wouldn't even be here, but I can't go there, you know.
Right. Take it easy.
That's just my opinion,
Right.
you know. And that's how I speak. I'm very real because a lot of people are fake and they give these messages of this righteousness, and that ain't the case. You know, it's all about educating yourself about business and choosing a business that won't get you locked up. But if you do, just be prepared to do the time. I don't want to hear, I couldn't do it. You should have educated yourself about it. Now go do the time, sit down, get it over with, and think about your next move. That's really how I talk to them, you know.
So how it came about you getting a special on BET?
You know what? They approached me. Somebody called me. Actually, Wahida Clark called me and said, you know, Judge Mathis is doing this show. There's been some talk about your case. I don't know if they're doing white collar. I think they're doing like trap queens, like, you know. And but they do want to talk to you. So I don't know if anything's gonna come out of it, but try. So we did an interview, and they said we'll let you know. And then they called me back and was like, yo, they want to do the story. You know, they think you're a different type of trap queen. You know, so that's how that came about.
How you felt when that opportunity came?
I was, you know, I was a little bit skeptical at first because I didn't want it to look like American Greed or one of those shows that try to paint you as this crazy crook, you know, but they assured me that we're going to tell the story from your angle with the truth. So if you want the opportunity for your story to be out there from your side and your perspective, this is the platform you want. And that's where I said, okay, I felt very comfortable. Fatima, John Mark, Antoinetta, these were some of the producers, and they assured me that we are not gonna paint you in a bad way, because I'm not a bad person, and I didn't want to be painted that way. And I think they did a great job.
So how long it took?
And
We filmed for like 5 or 6 days, all day, nonstop.
Wow.
Yeah, for
45
45 minutes.
minutes.
and they also held a viewing party for you. What was the details behind that? How did that go?
I actually put the viewing party together.
Okay.
I planned for 150 or so people to come out, and I put it on, what is it called? With the Eventbrite, and I got 1,000 RSVPs.
Oh, wow.
I was shocked. I had to shut it down.
So that was an excellent turnout then.
Yeah, so it's about 500 people came, you know, which was pretty cool. And I'm always doing events. I'm always doing showcases where I'm with someone else. This was the first time it was something all about me.
Talking about the 40-40?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was the first time, so I got to see what kind of crowd I could pull, what type of interest was in me, and that was great. It's great for other things that I'm doing, other promoters that got to see that. Now I can, it helps me be able to navigate and get a bag for.
Right,
for,
it was a good
coming.
networking platform
for
to
sure.
do it right.
For sure, it was dope.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it,
I enjoyed it. Shout out to Bimmy, because Bimmy made that happen
Yeah,
for
Bimmy
us.
made it happen for
Yeah,
us.
shout out to. Let me tell you about Bim.
He
Bim
VIP.
is my dog.
Yeah.
Bim actually found me in prison. It was a picture that went viral, and he said, "Yo, this girl is talented right here." You know what I'm saying? And he reached out to me actually to like manage me and help me with my music, and then we just became good friends. And he's always just been a good guy. Good to me. Always keeping me abreast of what's going on in the industry. Any opportunities that he has, if it will benefit me, he lets me know. So shout out to Bim.
Definitely shout out. That's another person who keep it 100.
Yeah, Bimmy's
Shout
a
out to
good
Bimmy,
dude.
good dude.
Crazy.
And that's how we got you on the show.
Yeah,
Because
for
of Bimmy.
sure.
He's like, yo, V, man. He's like, I want y'all to come to 40-40, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good night. What's
He
going
put me on
on?
FaceTime with you.
Yeah.
He was like,
Oh,
it was me.
That was you. Okay.
He's like, I'm not going to look like this.
Oh, I was looking crazy. I was in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And I tried to plug with you before we left. He was like, let me do this one rap song, then I'll talk to you.
And I don't know what happened after
Yeah.
that. It was crazy.
Because it was crowded. It was
Because,
nice.
I really love the support. It ain't fake. It's like everybody who comes out, I want to be able to at least get them a hug or take a picture. And it was a lot of people, so it took a lot of time, but it was worth it because I'm not one of those people that's like, I got a platform now and I got some attention. And I'm like, no, I'm very humble.
Yeah, you was humble.
And, I
And
really,
you show you went around.
Everybody.
You went around. Yeah.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
wasn't-
But you wanna hear
wasn't
something,
bougie or
though?
nothing.
If jail don't do nothing to you, it make you appreciate just regular life, man.
Some
Just
people
being
don't.
around regular people. That's the people that's
didn't.
trying to do something with their life.
They ain't do enough time.
You appreciate the smaller things in life, And I know, just moving around and getting all that love, and you ain't been home that long.
No, I haven't.
You know what I'm saying?
I haven't.
So that's such a good feeling.
Yeah, it's a great
And
feeling.
look what you're doing already. I know people that was in there with you was like, damn, look at Aisha, man.
Yeah.
She rocking.
And that motivates
Do
me.
do you still stay in contact with some of the women that's in there, like write them and send them anything?
Yes. Shout out to CJ, my friend CJ. I sacrifice, the little that I do have. Every month I try to send out something, a couple of dollars. Because in prison, unless you've been there, you don't really understand. You have to have money on your books. Otherwise, it's like you're homeless.
Yeah.
You can't rely on those meals.
Yeah.
Indigent,
You'll
they call
starve.
it.
Yeah, the mills, yeah.
They call it indigent.
Indigent. And the feds, $5 a month makes you indigent, where they have to supply everything. So the minimum pay in the feds is $5.25. So that extra quarter keeps them from having to take care of you, because now they're saying you make more than $5.
Yeah,
You make
that's bad.
$5.25.
That's bad. Ain't nothing with that.
And you be in a unit. And dudes be eating. They
Nah,
be
but
eating.
like,
nah,
And
but
hold on, Doc. Let me do my thing right quick, man.
Let me do
You know what
my
I'm saying?
thing, Doc.
You dudes be eating. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's
And
true.
Sierra, you know what I'm talking about. Don't act funny over there.
Sierra track
Yeah?
queen. She a
Yeah,
track
she
queen.
been- she
Ah,
kept that to emotion. That's why she like this.
She's in the federal prison.
so she
You know what I'm
knows.
saying? Yeah, but it's real though. We can laugh about it now, but if you indigent in there,
Man.
and people be, because some people bread be up in there. They
Nah,
gonna,
but
they gonna eat, they gonna live.
what you do? You tell them
Feel
that the
it.
guys who don't have it, hey, you have to know how to hustle.
You gonna wash
You
their
be the
clothes?
cook or you wash them bowls.
You gonna buff they floor?
You heard what I
watch
said
them
in that
boys.
song. I said 2-for-1 store stacking up on commissary.
Exactly.
You know?
Them dudes, they know how to get it. They wash bowls and they cook.
But you know what's so crazy? You know, anybody who's been in prison knows that any prison business is illegal. You cannot run a business while you're in prison. It's illegal. You'll get a shot. You'll get written up. You'll get a citation. So you have to be able to not just hustle, but hustle on the low and hope you don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, you lose visits, you lose phone,
Yeah.
you lose good days. You know, a shot for running a business in the feds is a serious shot.
But not only that, though, you can go from one qualification and to go up.
Yes.
So if you're in
yes.
the camp, you're gonna go to a low. If you're in a low, you're gonna go to the max. You know, or you might be in New York and you're gonna go to Oklahoma.
That's right.
Now your family got to go to Oklahoma if you want to visit. That's rough, man.
Yeah, it's very rough.
You know
So
what
the
I'm saying?
Speak Panther sitcom or
Reality
show, when you think it's gonna be popping off?
Um,
When you think y'all probably should be closing in on a deal?
Oh, I mean, it just comes down to who has the best deal. The deal. It's not a question of if, it's
That's
when.
it.
Is when?
Yeah, and that's being worked out right now. So I'm not really sure as far as that's up to the network.
So let me ask you this, from your point of view, you only doing it if all 5 of y'all down? Speaking for yourself.
Yeah, for me, yes. Now, if it's anything that has to do with like rules about types of cases, we already worked that out. Like there was an issue like with Brandy because of her case. So we said, listen, this is the deal. She has to come on like kind of like how Portia would come on to Housewives in the beginning. Like she has to be able to at least come on as like a guest, a special guest.
Like a couple
and
times.
then when the people see our interaction, they'll demand it.
For the second season.
Yeah, because once you have to give the fans what they want. You can't leave one out. It messes up the flow of the story.
So how she feel about that?
Let me tell you, one thing about my sisters is that everybody is supportive of the other.
Right.
I'm never gonna, if there was an issue like we're only doing drug cases, we can't do white collar, I'm not gonna be mad. I want them to get their bag. I'm not gonna let my situation stop somebody else's bag.
Right.
That would be very selfish. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So we all support each other. Now, obviously, we want like a situation where everybody can participate. But if that doesn't happen and it's like time is of the essence, then it is what it is.
It's
and we're all
3-2
gonna
though, right?
support each other.
It's 3-2, right? 3 of y'all white collar, 2 drugs.
Yeah. So we got we got Shawana's credit card fraud. Sunny is counterfeit. Jamila is real estate, and she had a drug case. I'm white collar,
And Brandon.
and Brandy's drugs. So, and there was other girls in the group that had drug cases that, had some issues with some of the production stuff. But we trying to work it out.
But y'all only doing y'all 5, right? Like they interested in y'all
Well,
5, and
yes.
then y'all bring them in like different episodes.
Yeah. And then we have other opportunities where people are talking about other types of shows to kind of be like more of like a mentorship type thing too. So we just got so many opportunities, and we're trying to diversify it so that everybody can get some shine, and everybody can participate.
All right.
So, that's nice.
So can you tell everybody your social media links?
Yes, but real quick, I want to tell y'all what I have coming out.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah, do
first
that.
off, me and Shawana King, we have the Real Credit Pro, therealcreditpro.com. We're actually having a seminar on the 26th at Vibes in Queens. Shout out to Luke and Vibes for that opportunity. But we're going to be doing a one-day only flat fee credit repair. So if you had a credit profile that had $2,000 worth of credit repair that needs to be done, we're doing it flat for $300. Whether you have 10 items or 3 items, it doesn't matter, that one day. So, go to our website, or contact me on Instagram if you want to come to that. We have a couple of seats left. You'll learn about the credit game, get brunch, mimosas, and I'm going to teach all that I know. So people can do it for themselves, and they can also find out how that works. That's one thing.
Where that's at?
At Vibes in Queens, on Liberty Ave.
Liberty Ave.
Yes. Second thing I have going on is I have a new book that I'm getting ready to drop, and I'm so proud of this book. It's called Larry the Lending Lion, and it's a children's book about money and finance. It teaches kids about interest. It teaches them about taxes, about credit, about lending, all of that in one short story, and it rhymes, of course. And that's get ready to drop. And the other day, a kid
What
was
month?
reading it. probably first week of March. So a kid was reading it, and it's so cool. What is this called when someone gives you money and then you pay back more? And he was like, interest? He learned more. I felt so good. I'm like, I'm about to really educate these kids.
Yeah.
And that's one of my biggest projects that I'm working on. I have a mixtape dropping as well.
Are you doing any press for that?
For the book?
Yeah.
Not yet. Y'all are actually the first ones that I'm talking about publicly to it.
Okay, there you go.
So that's. I'm
And what's the
real
name of the
proud that.
mixtape?
American Gangster Trap Queens goes right with the show. It's going about my trials and tribulations.
Is
going
that
through
song on
prison.
there I just heard?
That song is on there.
That song is banging.
That's the
Got
lead
it.
How many
song.
songs we have?
Just 5.
Five,
Actually
okay.
6. 5 and 1 bonus.
Okay.
To 6. And I'm working with the Heat Makers. I'm working with 808 Mafia. I'm working with some dope producers.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
808
saying?
Mafia is dope.
Yeah, shout out to Fuse. I got some dope tracks and some real good music that's about to drop. Outside of my story, just me being an artist, that's like fire. So
Right,
I'm excited about that.
So you shooting any videos?
Yeah, I'm actually getting ready to shoot some videos in the next week or two. I haven't really shot a lot of videos. You know, I was on ankle bracelet, then I was limited. You know, now I'm kind of able to move around, so everything's about to just come.
So 2020.
So
Perfect time to turn up.
I know you have the mixtape, but are you focusing on like any single that you're gonna put out there, like one main song too that you're gonna put out?
Yeah, I got this song. It's called Makeup Sex. It's so fire, and it just goes into like all of the stuff that couples kind of go through, and then how it kind of all gets resolved. You know,
Okay.
With the makeup
with
sex?
the makeups, it's fire.
That's like a club song?
Something nice.
It's,
Nice for the
it's
lover.
fire. I should
makeup
give y'all. I
sex is
should give
alright.
y'all a taste of it. I
Yeah,
really
give us a
should.
taste. Give us a
I got
taste.
the track. This is
Give us
exclusive.
a taste.
Exclusive.
You want the
You
exclusive?
heard it
World
first
premiere.
on the beat 139.
That makeup sex is all right.
I got it from here. I don't know if you put the mic by it.
We gonna run that.
Oh, you got that? Oh, that's
Okay,
fine.
He got everything. He the best.
I give you a piece of
He
that.
is the best. We got the best working with us.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is perfect. So
right.
I'll give y'all a little piece.
Okay, let's get some of that
Exactly.
Shout out to Fuse, 808 Mafia for this
makeup
one.
sex.
Oh yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Let me turn my volume back up.
Let's
ready?
get this makeup sex track.
Oh, sound like lollipop.
I gotta spit it for y'all. It's not even.
Yeah, we want. Yeah, get
y'all
that
ready?
flow. Let's get a flow.
Ready?
Let's see you flow.
Hey.
Hey, turn it up, Clique.
Aisha Hall, y'all. Makeup sex.
I've been hitting you, but you ain't returned my text. Since I stepping through the door, I'm about to flip. Straight to the shower, probably washing off her lips. Still start tripping on you. And if baby, what you gonna do? For the last time, baby, I'm so through. Don't touch me, I won't touch you. Moving, still pursuing. What you doing? Telling me I'm sexy whenever I'm moving. It's me harder, I refuse, but why I bother? Sitting on you, go back and forth like you's a rocker. Taking and loving you at the same time. Fucking my body, you fucking my mind. I want you to stop, I'm lying. Look at my tears while you deciding not to cry your name. Baby, it's a damn shame. Cause I'ma be the one you come home to. It's my name on your tattoo. When I get mad, it's what we do. This love is real, we started doing makeup, sex, makeup, sex. You be getting over with that makeup, sex. Get away with murder with that makeup, sex. Special way you hold me when I get so vexed with that makeup, sex, makeup, sex. You be getting over with that makeup, sex. Get away with murder with that makeup, sex. Special way you hold me when I get so vexed. My phone was sitting on the counter ringing, missed it. You picked it up, baby, you all up in my business. You always pushing me like I let someone hit this. But in reality, you probably got a mistress. So what I been thinking I later living my life. Now you wanna tell me act like your wife. Off the floor, you stab with
Get
a
it?
I walk out, you say stay, scream and shout, kiss your face. I roll a pearl, a lace, your fingers wrapped around my waist. I miss this. Alright, that's it.
Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it first on the beat. Makeup sex. That was hot, Aisha. That was hot.
I ain't gonna lie. That was
That was hot.
What you playing
Yo,
for?
that was dope. That was dope.
Yeah, so
All of them tracks is dope.
I was about to get up and be the
That right there.
Nah, that other joint about she talking about, man, I don't like the fact that you telling on me and the interlude.
Nah, this my
That's
favorite right here.
Come on.
That's my favorite right here, Makeup Sex, man. I ain't gonna like that.
Why that's your
hard.
favorite, that?
Yeah, that was nice.
It's mean, the flow.
Why that's your favorite?
I was on my straight flow with that one.
Crazy. And then what she was saying. To me, that's my favorite. Show of hands, who favors the Makeup Sex?
I like all of them, man.
No, we all.
Real.
No, not that you don't like it. Not saying I ain't like the other joint.
No,
That's
no,
right
that's
there.
cool. I mean, I like that song because it shows my artistry. I got reggae songs, I got my hard rap songs, and then I got that's kind of like my mellow flow.
Right, see, my
But
thing
Very
about this,
versatile, definitely. I love
what I
it.
say about your
That-
music, when I say about your music, right, you got a variety of
Right.
of music, and like Doc saying, that's a fun song. But your other song, the reason why I like it, because it's real.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? It's real. The words in there is real. And the way you turn the music down and you start getting at people and that real, and then you come back to the music, there's a lot of creativity in that.
Oh,
you know what I'm
definitely,
saying?
definitely. It's something for
that's-
everybody.
Yeah, yeah. She
You
got a
know,
variety.
yeah.
All her songs is dope.
Everyone can relate.
That
So
makeup sex
make
joint,
sure y'all
that
get
joint, you know.
Aisha Hall music.
I know what you mean, Doc.
The makeup song. If I was to label anything, I'm putting that out first.
Oh, absolutely. So when you ask me about what
You
I'm
got to put
pushing,
the-
you know,
you got to push that makeup set.
Yeah, right now we're looking
Yeah,
for like
I
the
like
right
that.
feature for that. You know, I think that song right there is gonna definitely give me a different type of following. You know, because the females, everybody can relate to it.
Everybody,
So-
Absolutely.
And that type
Absolutely.
of song, I think a lot of people would jump on that. Like if you ask for a feature,
Oh,
I
yeah,
could
yeah,
see.
yeah.
I think Megan would be nice on that.
See, the reason why this song right here would be the song to go with Doc is saying, because it's a fun song. The other song won't be the one to go with right now because it's real, and a lot of people out here not real
Right.
with their music.
Right.
Let's keep it 100. Everybody
That's
running
true.
around on a flamboyant. They got $1 million. You just got to deal. How the hell you get all that?
Right.
You know, come on,
Right.
cut it out. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
But that's the way you're gonna go on with that.
I like
'Cause that's
that
the way it is
joint.
right
I
now.
ain't
You
gonna
gonna
hold
do.
you. No cap. No cap.
Yeah,
man. I
that's
like
my
that.
joint.
Yeah,
So
you-
that definitely is probably gonna be the mixtape that I'm dropping right now. That's not on there, but on the next one, you know, that's on there.
So the video,
There's gonna be a video for it.
Yeah.
Why you want to be in it? You got people, you know, you got somebody.
yeah, I got somebody.
We model. The B139 models. We come through. You know, we got a little something with us.
Okay.
You know, ex-Bimmy, he told me.
You know what I'm saying?
We came through 40. We was looking right.
Y'all was looking right. Y'all was
Yeah, we
looking
looking right. You know? You came in the room, they had like 50 girls. Doc, we like, God damn. That's my word. I'm trying to be funny. It was like rows, like a whole.
Those is my bad
I've been in
bitches.
the party like this in a minute.
We had a hook. Bad bitches in the
Yeah,
fed.
they was in there, yo. She brought them out. You bring them out. I'm going to all your parties. You bringing them out.
That's
But real
what's
talk to let everybody know your social media links.
Okay,
They
so
need to
y'all can
connect.
find me on Instagram at the real Aisha Hall, AISHA Hall. Y'all can find me on Facebook, Aisha Hall. You can find me YouTube, just YouTube, Aisha Hall. My music, my interviews, everything comes up. I'm on every streaming platform. The Aisha Hall Project. My new mixtape, Track Queen, is about to be on every streaming network, whatever you call it, platform. And just Google me,
Social
Aisha
media
Hall.
links.
That's my name. I kept my name, Aisha Hall. I don't have a rap name because I wanted everybody to be able to connect all the dots. so.
Absolutely. So definitely want to thank you for coming on the show, Aisha. Fantastic interview.
Thank you.
But can you please tell them your favorite podcast and what podcast you want today?
The beat 139.
Okay.
Yes.
B139, y'all know what it is. Aisha Hall, the
Aisha
boss.
Hall. Don't forget, people, subscribe.
And hit that like
Make sure
button,
you hit
please.
the like button. Keep hitting that like button and keep subscribing. Tell everybody to do it. And friends, family, everybody.